Chapter 174. Tang Zheng urged. Then quickly tell me, how can I safely enter the 10-direction killing array? The 10-direction killing array has only one life gate. As long as you find the life gate, you can safely enter. Tian Chanzi said mysteriously. How do I find the life gate? Tian Chanzi did not speak directly, but had Tang Zheng revolve his chi and gently press it against the mountain wall. The mountain wall suddenly burst with light, and a stone door slowly opened. Tang Zheng had Huang Zhang and Battle Soul stay outside to take care of Yiding Dang, and then he walked through the stone door alone. Boom! With a loud sound, the stone door suddenly closed. The inside of the mountain wall was as bright as day, and he did not know where the light came from, but he could clearly see everything in front of him. 10 corridors appeared in front of him, and these were 10 directions. Only one of the 10 directions led to the life gate, and if he was not careful and entered the other 9 directions, then he would undoubtedly die. Take the third one from the left. Tian Chanzi firmly said. Are you sure? Don't point me in the wrong direction. There is no medicine for regret. Tang Zheng said. Tian Chanzi confidently said, Believe me, there is absolutely no mistake. Tang Zheng was helpless and could only walk into the corridor. All around him were bare stone walls, but it was very dry, and the flow of air was very smooth. After walking about 30 meters, Tang Zheng walked out of the corridor and entered a large hall. His eyes were instantly attracted to a corner of the hall. The ghost general was lying in that corner. His body was riddled with holes, as if he had been stabbed by countless swords into a bloody gourd. Do you see? This is the result of not taking the life gate. Tian Chanzi proudly said. Previously he touched a restriction, which is the 10-direction killing array's death gate, so he was sucked in and killed, but this is equivalent to helping you out. Tian Chanzi said. Tang Zheng nodded, and his eyes fell on the center of the hall, where there was a high platform, and he could not see clearly what was on it. Let's go there and take a look, Tian Chanzi said. Will there be any danger? I'm here. Don't be afraid. Tang Zheng cautiously walked over and walked up the stairs. Gradually, he reached the high platform. His eyes inadvertently swept over the platform, and he was immediately shocked. Someone's here, Tang Zheng shouted in a low voice. I saw it. You don't have to tell me. But it's already dead. You don't have to be afraid. Tian Chanzi clearly saw it more clearly than Tang Zheng. Hearing that the other party was dead, Tang Zheng's heart calmed down a little. He slowly walked up and finally saw the whole picture of the high platform. There was a corpse lying on the high platform. It was a middle-aged man with long hair. His facial features were vivid and lifelike, without any trace of decay. He was no different from a living person. Moreover, there was a dignified aura emitting from his forehead. Even though he was no longer alive, this dignified aura was still frightening. The strangest thing was that this corpse was suspended in the air about 10 centimeters from the ground. Tang Zheng could clearly see that there was nothing below to support it. What's going on here? Tang Zheng asked. Tian Chanzi was silent. After a long time, he said in a deep voice, This person must have been a very high-level cultivator when he was alive. This is his grave. He set up a 10 directions killing array to prevent people from disturbing him. Then do you know him? I don't know him. There are thousands of cultivators in this world. How can I know all of them? But there is no doubt that he must have been an all-powerful cultivator. Tang Zheng stared at the lifelike corpse. His heart moved, and he said, Tian Chanzi, aren't you looking for a carrier? Can he do it? Tian Chanzi was shocked. Are you saying that I can use him to be reborn? That's right. Anyway, he's already dead. You can borrow his body. What's more, if you use his body to do something, wouldn't it bring glory to him? Tang Zheng urged. Tian Chanzi was silent. Tang Zheng took advantage of the situation and continued to persuade him. It's not like you don't know how difficult it is to find a carrier. He was a powerful cultivator when he was alive, so he must be able to bear your soul. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. What's more, it's fate that we met. Perhaps this is your chance. Do you really think so? Tian Chanzi's voice was cautious. Of course I think so. Don't you want to see Sure? If you don't rebirth, how can you see her? What's more, I'm in big trouble this time, and I need your help. Otherwise, I may not be able to survive. Tang Zheng persuaded earnestly. All right, since it's fate that we met, then I'll use his body to continue living in this world. If there really is a glorious day, then I'll also give him a share of the glory. Tian Chanzi made up his mind. Tang Zheng was overjoyed. Now all of his problems were solved. He urged, then hurry up and cast the technique to be reborn. Don't be in such a hurry. Speaking of which, I've been in your head for so long that I've gotten used to it. I really don't want to leave. Tian Chanzi reluctantly said. Tang Zheng had a bitter expression. Don't. If you don't move, then what's the point of living in my head? Moreover, didn't you have more freedom after being reborn? I think you little brat, just wanting to leave you as soon as possible. Whatever. I can't stay in your head forever anyway. This is the best way. Tian Chanzi sighed. When he first entered Tang Zheng's head and wanted to leave, he was bound by Tang Zheng's 9-yang saint body. Now that Tian Chanzi's strength was gradually recovering under Tang Zheng's nourishment, he was no longer bound by the 9-yang saint body. Little brat, I'm leaving. We can't have this kind of exchange of thoughts in the future. Don't worry, we can still talk. We can also communicate effectively. Tang Zheng impatiently said. However, deep in his heart, he was a bit reluctant. Tian Chanzi and he seemed to have gotten used to each other's existence through this kind of mysterious method. However, parting was inevitable. They already knew that this day would come. Moreover, this was the best result. Tang Zheng placed his hand on the corpse's forehead. He suddenly felt his mind go blank, as if he had lost something. He knew that Tian Chanzi had already left. They took a step back and stared at him without blinking. He saw a ray of light appear on his forehead. Then this ray of light enveloped his entire body. It was extremely dazzling and made it hard for people to open their eyes. So, suddenly, the light disappeared from his body. He only saw him slowly open his eyes. Tang Zheng's heart moved, and he blurted out, Tian Chanzi. He turned his head and grinned. Hey, I really have been reborn. I'm even younger than before. His words completely broke the original dignified feeling of the original owner of this body. However, Tang Zheng felt very close to him. You've succeeded, Tang Zheng excitedly said. Tian Chanzi naturally nodded his head. Of course I've succeeded. I've waited 1,000 years for this day. Haha, I've finally succeeded. Congratulations. Thank you, little brat. Without your help, I wouldn't be where I am today. So you can be considered to have saved me. If I didn't meet you, I would have exploded and died when I was 20. So you also saved me. We're even. Tang Zheng said with a smile from the bottom of his heart. Ha! Tian Chanzi happily laughed. He stood up and stretched his body. He clicked his tongue and praised. I can conclude that this person must have been an extremely powerful person in the past. This body is even better than mine in the past. In the future, not only will I be able to restore my cultivation, but I will also be able to advance by leaps and bounds. Tian Chanzi, what is your cultivation? You still haven't told me. Tang Zheng curiously asked. In the past, I was a Yuaning 9th grade cultivator. But after 1,000 years of consumption, I have now regressed to a 5th grade golden core. Tian Chanzi regretfully said. 5th grade golden core? Tang Zheng smacked his lips, and his eyes widened in surprise. Although Tian Chanzi's tone was very regretful, Tang Zheng could only look up to this level of cultivation. It must be known that the cultivation of cultivators from low to high is divided into Qi refining, foundation establishment, Inidia, golden core, Yuanying, spirit severing, Mahayana, and many other realms. And each realm is divided into 9 grades. In other words, Tang Zheng and Tian Chanzi's cultivation are now worlds apart. A Yuanying cultivator's cultivation is equivalent to a master realm martial artist. But because a cultivator knows many spells, their strength is higher. If a large family like the Yi family had a martial artist of the great scholar realm, then the family could be guaranteed to flourish for a long time. Therefore, Yi Xuanji risked his life to break through to the great scholar realm. But Tian Chanzi was even more powerful than the average great scholar realm. It was clear how terrifying his strength was in this world. As long as he stands out and calls for help, I'm a master realm martial artist. I don't know how many large families and even countries will try to recruit him. Of course, because he is a cultivator, if he raises his arms and calls for help, he may directly attract the attention of a martial ancestor. Looking at Tang Zheng's shocked expression, Tian Chanzi nodded with satisfaction. He laughed and said, "Little brat, now you finally know how powerful I am. You dared to laugh at me before. Let's see if you still dare to do so in the future." "Humph, why wouldn't I dare? You have only lived for 1,000 years more than me. If I were as old as you, I would definitely be more powerful than you." Tang Zheng was not afraid of him and retorted without hesitation. Tian Chanzi was speechless. He sighed and said, "Little brat, your mouth is getting sharper and sharper. I can't win against you." The corner of Tang Zheng's mouth rose. The feeling of bickering with Tian Chanzi was the same as before. But looking at a living person, he still needed some time to get used to it. Let's not talk about this anymore. Let's take a look at the Ghost General. After his death, who knows what kind of uproar it will cause in the Ghost Realm. Next time, I'm afraid they will directly send a Ghost Commander. Tian Chanzi said with a gloating smile. Tang Zheng rolled his eyes. He broke into the 10-direction killing array by himself. "Don't tell me you want to put the blame on me? If I don't put the blame on you, then should I? But you don't have to be afraid. Since the Ghost General is dead, the people of the Ghost Realm won't know who did it. As long as you are careful, no one will come looking for you. Let's first see what good things he has on him," Tian Chanzi said excitedly as he arrived beside the Ghost General. Chapter 175. The Ghost General was very poor. Tian Chanzi was so angry that he stomped his feet and cursed. A Ghost General only has a profound level magic weapon and nothing else of value. Too poor, a pauper. Tang Zheng could not help but laugh. "Tian Chanzi, were you born as a bandit? I think robbing is your greatest skill." Tian Chanzi raised his eyebrows and retorted, "Nonsense." He was so anxious because he had just been reborn and did not have a magic weapon to use. Finally, he took the ghost head blade and regretfully shook his head. "Forget it. I'll just use a profound level magic weapon." A black light flashed, and the ghost head blade disappeared. Tang Zheng stared with wide eyes. "The ghost head blade, where did it go?" "Of course, it was absorbed into my body." Tian Chanzi said, "If you had my cultivation, you would naturally be able to absorb magic weapons into your body. There is no need to be surprised." Tang Zheng was endlessly envious. His war spirit sword could only be carried on his back, and many times it was inconvenient. If he could absorb it into his body, it would be a lot more convenient. "Let's see if there's anything else in this ancient tomb that we can use," Tian Chanzi said unwillingly. Thus, the two of them searched, but found nothing. In the end, Heaven Monk's gaze landed on the high platform. He clapped his hands and said, "How could I forget? I remember this matter. This is the biggest treasure here." Tang Zheng moved closer and saw Tian Chanzi staring at the high platform with shining eyes. "Weren't you just lying on top of it?" "That's right. This is one of the reasons why this body has not decayed. It is because this spirit stone is nourishing his body." "Spirit stone?" "That's right. When the spiritual energy between heaven and earth gathers, it will form a spirit stone. The spirit stone contains a lot of spiritual energy, and we cultivators need spiritual energy the most. Although this huge spirit stone has lost a lot of spiritual energy over the years, it is still many times more abundant than the spiritual energy between heaven and earth." Tang Zheng's heart thumped. Wasn't the reason he refined the spirit-gathering pill to absorb more spiritual qi? Since the spirit stones contained more spiritual qi, wouldn't his future cultivation speed be faster? Tian Chanzi said magnanimously, "Kid, everyone has a share. Let's split it 50 to 50. Don't say that I'm bullying you." Tang Zheng shook his head. "No, it has to be divided into 3 portions. Sure also needs 1 portion." "Huh, right, I almost forgot about my apprentice. Don't worry, I'll keep this spirit stone for now and give it to you when we get back." Tian Chanzi waved his hand, and the big spirit stone disappeared. The two of them walked out of the cliff again. Huang Xiang and Battle Spirit were still guarding Yi Dingdong's side. Tang Zheng hurriedly rushed over. Fortunately, Yi Dingdang was not dead, but her breathing was very weak. Tian Chanzi, quickly save her. Tian Chanzi curled his lips and said, I told you to eat her earlier, but you didn't listen to me. Don't worry, she won't die. Tian Chanzi walked over and placed his palm above her head. A ray of light shot from his palm into Yi Dingdang's head. In an instant, Yi Dingdang was completely wrapped up by this ray of light. A moment later, the light disappeared and Yi Dingdang slowly woke up. She opened her eyes and shouted, Ghost General, where's the Ghost General? Her face was still filled with fear. Tang Zheng hurriedly hugged her and patted her back. He comforted her and said, The Ghost General has already been eliminated. Don't be afraid, don't be afraid. Yi Dingdang did not care about the two's ambiguous position. She was pleasantly surprised and said, Really? I thought I was going to die. Tang Zheng released her and looked at her frightened appearance. He smiled and said, Dingdang, thank you for risking your life to save me. Yi Dingdang did not mind. She waved her hand and said, You also didn't risk your life to save me? After saying this, the two of them looked at each other and smiled. Hey, you two don't need to be so lovey-dovey. Let's get down to business first. Tian Chanzi's voice sounded out at an inappropriate time. Yi Dingdang was shocked. She discovered that there was an extra person beside her. This person had sword-like eyebrows and bright eyes. He was a handsome middle-aged uncle, but there was a trace of temperament between his eyebrows that did not match his handsome appearance. It was a bit wretched. Who is he? Yi Dingdang hurriedly asked. Could it be another ghost? Tang Zheng laughed involuntarily, as this little girl had been scared to death by the Ghostenite, causing her to have some residual effects. Tian Chanzi rolled his eyes and complained, Have you ever seen a ghost as handsome as me? Yi Dingdang let out a sigh of relief. She did not pay attention to his boasting. As long as he was not a ghost, it was fine. Then who are you? He is. Tang Zheng really did not know how to introduce Tian Chanzi. I am his master. Tian Chanzi took over the topic and said. Tang Zheng glared at him. This old man was actually taking advantage of him. Tian Chanzi deliberately winked at him. Tang Zheng's head moved. That's right. Didn't you always brag about having a cheap master? Then let him pretend to be one. Then you're also a cultivator? Yi Dingdang curiously asked. Were you the one who destroyed the Ghost General? Of course. Tian Chanzi said without the slightest modesty. Well, let's leave this place first. Tang Zheng hurriedly put the war spirit back into the war spirit sword. The few of them walked into the city together. Now they did not need to run away. Instead, they needed to save people. With Tian Chanzi as a super helper, the martial organization people were no longer a threat. As the few of them hurried on their way, Tang Zheng was thinking about the martial organization. This time, Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyan were rescued. How should he tell them? Should he tell them the truth? No, this was his biggest secret. Moreover, if they knew about this, it would bring them trouble. Dingdang, I want to discuss something with you. Tang Zheng pondered for a moment before speaking in a deep voice. What is it? Last night's matter and my identity as a cultivator. Can you not tell anyone? Not even your parents? Tang Zheng asked. Why? You also saw that the martial organization is a powerful organization. If my identity is exposed, it will definitely bring about a disaster. You also don't want me to die young. Yi Dingdang was silent. Too many things had happened that night. It almost overturned her worldview. She hesitated for a moment and said, I can promise you, but you have to save my parents. Of course, the fewer people who know about this, the better. I will keep my mouth shut. Yi Dingdang solemnly promised. Tang Zheng let out a sigh of relief. As long as he caught the martial organization people, his secret would not be exposed. The most important thing now was to find them. The sky was already bright. The few of them had just returned to the city when they received a call from Lin Hu. Young Master Tang, I have good news. Tang Zheng's head moved and said, Oh, you found them? No, they found me. Lin Hu excitedly said, What do you mean? Early in the morning, someone came to find me. They wanted me to find Yi Dingdang's whereabouts. That person's aura was too strong. No one dared to have the slightest thought of resisting. I guess that it must be the person who broke into the Ye family yesterday. Lin, who had sent people to investigate for an entire night, but to no avail. Who would have thought that the other party would personally deliver themselves to their doorstep? This was really unexpected. This was actually because he had no way of finding Yi Ding Dang like searching for a needle in a haystack, and could only place his hopes on Lin, this local tyrant. Tang Jing's head was filled with joy. Where are they? They left me an address. They said that if there is any news, I should go there to inform them. Okay, give me the address. Lin, who said the address, and asked, Young Master Tang, what do you need us to do? The other party is not a good person. I will call all my brothers and make sure they do not return. You don't need to worry about this matter. Just do what you need to do. You have just taken over Huang Xi's territory. Make sure that there is no trouble. I will take care of this matter myself. Tang Jing warned. Lin, who expressed that he understood, and hung up the phone. You have news of them? Yi Ding Dang asked in surprise. Tang Jing nodded and said, We will go over in a bit. Let me make a phone call first. There was no way he could attend today's class, so he called Lu Qingmei to ask for leave. Now that he had a good relationship with Lu Qingmei, she happily approved his leave. Then he called Fang Shishir to tell her that he had something to do. Seeing him finish his long-winded phone call, Yi Ding Dang curled her lips and said, At this time you are still thinking about love. Hung. Tang Jing gave a hollow laugh. Tian Chanzi laughed and righteously said, That's right. There's a little beauty standing next to you. If you want to talk about love, you should look for her. Yi Ding Dong's eyes widened and her cheeks turned red as she said, Who wants to talk about love with him? He already has his own girlfriend. Tian Chanzi shook his head and said disapprovingly, It is normal for a man to have 3 wives and 4 concubines. Especially for such an outstanding man like my disciple. There is no such restriction. Little girl, don't blame me for not reminding you. If you firmly hold on to him now, it will be good for you in the future. Yi Ding Dang looked at him as if she was looking at a monster. He actually said such words in such a dignified manner. She said in disbelief, How can you say such things? I am saying this for your own good. You have to understand. Tian Chanzi sighed. Tang Jing finally couldn't listen anymore. He didn't know if it was right or wrong to let him be reborn. He actually spoke without thinking. Looking at Yi Ding Dong's red cheeks, he quickly clenched his teeth and his voice almost jumped out from between his teeth. Stop talking. Tian Chanzi rolled his eyes and muttered, A dog-biting Lu Dongbin. You don't know how to appreciate good intentions. Let's eat breakfast first. I'm starving to death. Tang Jing quickly changed the topic to prevent him from saying any more shocking words. Yi Ding Dang looked at Tian Chanzi as if he was an alien. She really couldn't understand his thoughts. Tian Chanzi was indeed distracted by breakfast. He excitedly said, Right, let's eat breakfast. I haven't eaten in over 1,000 years. Yi Ding Dang staggered and almost fell to the ground. More than 1,000 years. That means he has lived for more than 1,000 years. He is a 1,000-year-old monster. Tang Jing noticed her strangeness and quickly said, Ding Dang, eat breakfast. Don't listen to his nonsense. Yi Ding Dang didn't comment, but the way she looked at Tang Jing was very strange. It was as if she only gradually got to know the real Tang Jing last night. Tian Chanzi ate almost 10 people's worth of food. The waiter was stunned. This person's stomach didn't look big, but how could he eat so much? This was a real foodie. Tang Jing didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He stared at him and said, I think you are the reincarnation of a hungry ghost. Tian Chanzi didn't care. He skillfully picked his teeth with a toothpick and said, You haven't experienced the pain of not eating for more than 1,000 years. Although this breakfast doesn't taste that good, it feels very good. Okay, no need to talk so much. Let's go save people. Tang Jing really couldn't stand him. Chapter 176. In the outskirts of the city, in an isolated courtyard, there weren't many residents around. This lonely courtyard looked no different from a normal courtyard. Free novel portal, however, Tang Jing knew that this was where the people from the martial organization were hiding. This was the address that Lin Hu had given him. The few of them ate breakfast and headed straight for this place. How are we going to get in? Yi Ding Dang looked from afar and asked curiously. Tian Chanzi walked forward with large strides while saying, "Of course we're going to walk in." As his voice fell, he was already at the door. The remaining 3 people could only brace themselves and follow. Pung! Heaven Monk pushed with both hands, and the door flew into the courtyard with a loud bang. It crashed into the ground and shattered into pieces, creating a huge commotion. "Who is it?" Several people rushed out of the house in a single file, eyeing the 4 people like tigers eyeing their prey. "Yi Ding Dang!" One of them recognized her and cried out loudly. Whoosh! Ding Yi floated out, his face full of smiles as he said, "Yo, are you here voluntarily to die?" Yi Ding Dang angrily glared at him. "Hurry up and let my family go." Ding Yi smiled and asked, "These are the helpers that you brought with you?" His gaze swept over Tang Zheng and Tian Chanzi. His eyebrows raised and his smile became wider. "You really are cultivators, huh? This trip was not in vain. Since you know that we are cultivators, aren't you afraid?" Tian Chanzi asked. Ding Yi looked at Tian Chanzi and disdainfully said, "What is there to be afraid of? The martial organization's mission is to hunt and kill cultivators. You are the prey. When did the hunter become afraid of the prey? Prey? I think that today you are the real prey. Who do you think your martial organization is, daring to say that you want to hunt and kill all the cultivators in the world? You don't know the difference between life and death." Tian Chanzi's killing intent sword. Ding Yi thoughtfully looked at Tian Chanzi. "You are different from the cultivators I have met before. The cultivators I have met before were all extremely afraid of us, yet you are not afraid." "That's right. Last night you heavily injured Marshall and made her unconscious. You indeed have the qualifications to be arrogant, but that is because you have not met me. Today I will let you know what is the true strength of a martial great lord." "Really? Then I'll give it a try. Attack! Kill all of these martial arts sect people." Tian Chanzi shouted coldly and rushed forward. "Ding Dang, you're injured. Don't do anything. Stay on the side and support us," Tang Zheng instructed. Then he and Huang Xiang charged forward like tigers and wolves. In the courtyard, other than Ding Yi, there were 6 other martial artists. However, they were only Hodian realm martial artists. Tang Zheng was not afraid. Battle Spirit let out a sword cry and directly pierced towards the person in front. This martial artist jumped and dodged the attack. Then he began to fight with Tang Zheng. Huang Xiang's attack was even more violent. His 2 palms crisscrossed and slammed down towards the head of one of the martial artists. That person's blade slashed at Huang Xiang's chest, causing blood to flow. However, Huang Xiang did not dodge and expressionlessly slammed down with his palm. Gotcha! The opponent's neck was immediately broken. His eyes closed, and he fell to the ground dead. This attack was especially fierce and decisive, causing the others to be shocked. They had only met face to face, and they had already lost one of their own. Tang Zheng and Huang Xiang became more and more courageous as they fought. Both sides had a tacit understanding. Tang Zheng's battle spirit pierced through the chest of one of the martial artists, taking away his life. Although the 2 of them were surrounded by the remaining martial artists, they seemed to be taking a stroll in the park. They were not afraid in the slightest as they coordinated their attacks. Seeing this scene, Ding Yi was slightly surprised. This group of martial artists was too strange. With such strong martial arts, it was no wonder that martial arts was heavily injured last night. But the situation in front of him did not allow him to think carefully. With a flash of cold light, the ghost head blade appeared in Tian Chanzi's hands. He boldly and decisively attacked. Ding Yi's expression turned cold. His smile immediately disappeared. When an expert made a move, one would know the depth of their abilities. The ghost head blade chopped down. Ding Yi's soft palm met it, using softness to overcome strength. However, the ghost head blade's attack was too strong. Just as it came into contact with Ding Yi's palm, a piercing pain was transmitted to his brain. "Not good." Ding Yi shouted in his heart and immediately dodged to the side. Boom! Although the ghost head blade chopped down in the air, the indomitable aura of the ghost head blade instantly struck the wall. A large hole appeared in the wall, causing sand and stones to fly. Ding Yi glanced at this scene from the corner of his eye. His heart was overwhelmed with shock. Just now, if he had not dodged after being hit, his body would have been split in two like the wall. Just who are you? Ding, he had never met an expert with such cultivation. He could not help but be overwhelmed with shock. Tian Chanzi said with a cold face, "Didn't you want to kill all the cultivators in the world? Today, I'll let you experience the power of cultivators. Let's see if you have the ability to kill me." Tian Chanzi's hand loosened, and the ghost head blade left his hand and chopped down at Ding Yi. Ding Yi's pupils constricted as he cried out, "Imperial Blade Technique." The Imperial Blade Technique was the same as the Imperial Sword Technique. They both controlled treasures to attack from a distance. The only difference was that the treasures controlled were different. When Daoist Tianji used the Imperial Sword Technique, he had to be extremely careful. However, Tian Chanzi was much more confident and unrestrained. His killing intent soared as the ghost head blade charged forward with unparalleled momentum. Yi Dingdang stared dumbstruck at this scene. In her heart, the power of cultivators rose by several levels. Ding Yi had nowhere to hide, so he could only use all his strength to counterattack. However, his soft palms did not pose any threat to Tian Chanzi. A little fifth grade, Xian Tian dares to spout such arrogant words. "Go die!" Tian Chanzi shouted as the ghost head blade shone with a black light. So, the ghost head blade once again chopped down and Ding Yi's hands blocked. Pooh! Ding Yi's hands were chopped off, but the ghost head blade didn't stop there. It chopped towards his forehead. Seeing that it was about to hit him, Ding Yi actually endured the pain of his hands being chopped off and fell backwards, hoping to avoid this attack. However, he had clearly underestimated Tian Chanzi's determination to kill him. The ghost head blade's attack did not decrease as the blade pressed down a few centimeters. Poochie! In the end, Ding Yi was unable to avoid this blade and was split in half from head to toe. Fresh blood splattered all over the courtyard. The insufferably arrogant Ding Yi had died under the ghost head blade just like that. He did not even have the chance to cry out. This was the complete opposite of his high-spirited self from yesterday at the Ye family. Yi Dingdang couldn't help but scream out loud. This bloody scene was too stimulating. Tangjing also saw this scene and was deeply shocked. This was a battle between Golden Core Stage cultivators. This was a true expert. There was no need for so many moves. In just a few moves, the enemy would be killed. Poopiu, another few sounds of swords piercing through bodies could be heard. Under the cooperation of Tang Zheng and Huang Zhang, the other four were also killed. Please recommend. Chapter 177. Tian Chanzi and Huang Zhang waved their sleeves and left under the complicated gazes of Yi Tianlei and his wife. Then the couple's eyes were fixed on Tang Zheng. Amazed face, / amazed face / Tang Zheng awkwardly said, "Uncle Yi Aunt Feng, why are you looking at me like that? It's embarrassing. Little handsome brother, this time it's all thanks to you. Otherwise I don't know what would have happened to me," and Tianlei. Feng Xinyang affectionately said, "It's what I should do, it's what I should do." Tang Zheng couldn't say that it was all because of him, so he couldn't help but look at Yi Dingdang. Yi Dingdang stared back at him, the two pairs of eyes containing a variety of complicated emotions. Feng Xinyang coincidentally caught the two's eye contact, and her heart moved. "Looks, haha, this little brat is finally enlightened. This little handsome brother can't run away." While Feng Xinyang was happy, Yi Tianlei was frowning. His mood was very heavy, and when he looked at the courtyard full of corpses, his mood fell to the bottom of the valley. "Tang Zheng, you just killed the people of the martial organization just like that?" Yi Tianlei asked in a deep voice with a trace of disbelief. Tang Zheng nodded. "If they don't die, it will be very troublesome in the future. That's right, this group of bastards captured us for no reason. If I don't kill them, this old lady's heart will be filled with hatred," Feng Xinyang said in a relieved manner. Yi Tianlei shook his head and sighed. "The martial organization is not as simple as you think. This time you killed so many of their people, they will not let this matter rest. If we don't kill them, are we going to let them come and kill us? Where's the logic in this world?" Feng Xinyang disagreed and indignantly said, "They came to ordinary balance. because of what happened last night. What exactly happened last night? Yi Tianlei stared at Tang Zheng as he spoke. Tang Zheng was also hesitant, but in the end, he gritted his teeth and said, I don't know. This group of martial sect people is too strange. Anyway, it's fine to kill them. In the future, we'll deal with whatever comes our way. That's right, little handsome brother. You have ambition. Others may be afraid of the martial organization, but we are not. At most, we will fight to the death. Besides, isn't there still that mysterious master of yours? He can't just watch as your precious disciple is bullied by the martial organization. Feng Xinyang's eyes turned as she laughed. Yi Tianlei heard this and nodded his head, seriously saying, I don't know how high Ding Yi's cultivation is, but you guys were able to take care of them so easily. We heard everything clearly from inside. From the beginning of the battle to the end, it was only 10 minutes. How strong is your master? This was the most shocking thing. Before, they had all thought that Tang Zheng's sheepmaster was very strong, but now they realized that the other party far exceeded their imaginations. Feng Xinyang's interest was also piqued by this question. She nodded her head and said, That's right. What is your master's cultivation level? Martial Scholar Realm. What? Martial Scholar Realm? Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang both cried out in surprise. Even Yi Dingdong's eyes widened. Previously, she did not know Tian Chanzi's cultivation level. In this world, the Great Master Realm was a true super expert. If a family had a martial artist of the Great Master Realm, then they would be able to prosper for a long time. Who would have thought that Tang Zheng would actually become the disciple of a Great Master Realm martial artist? Yi Tianlei was a bit envious of Tang Zheng. He let out a long sigh and said, Little Tang Zheng, you really are full of surprises. My heart is beating so fast that I can't take it anymore. Tang Zheng smiled embarrassedly. Uncle Yi overpraises me. I'm speaking the truth. I believe that your Aunt Feng also feels the same way. Feng Xinyang nodded her head. That's right. I really can't see through you. But little handsome brother, I really like your surprises. Moreover, this shows just how unique my eyes were before. Huh. She smiled as she gave Yi Dingdang a meaningful look. The few of them knew what she was referring to. Yi Dingdang glared at her bitterly. Tang Zheng could only pretend not to hear it. Yi Tianlei coughed awkwardly and said, This time, the martial sect's matter will definitely be very big. Furthermore, that martial sect has been sent back to the martial sect. As long as she speaks, the martial sect will know that we are related to this matter. Therefore, the ordinary balance is a place of trouble. Feng Xinyang was silent. In the past, she still wanted to stay in the ordinary balance. Even if Yi Xuanji summoned Yi Tianlei back to the capital, she was still a little unwilling. However, after this matter, the ordinary balance really could not stay and had to return to the capital. After all, the Ye family had a strong foundation in the capital and could protect their family. Even if the martial sect wanted to do something, they would at least have some misgivings. Ding dang, in a few days, it will be the college entrance exam. After the exam, we will immediately move back to the capital. Yi Tianlei looked at his wife and made his decision. So fast, Yi Dingdang was shocked. I grew up in the ordinary balance. I'm a little reluctant. Feng Xinyang mischievously smiled and said, I think you're just reluctant to part with little handsome brother. Don't worry, little handsome brother. After the exam, you can also come to the capital. The two people involved were embarrassed by Feng Xinyang's words. Tang Zheng's skin was thick and did not show any abnormalities. He said in a serious tone, Thank you, Aunt Feng, for your good intentions. After graduation, I still have some matters to attend to, so I can't leave for the time being. Little Tang has his master to take care of him. It will be safer than going to the Ye family. Yi Tianlei said. Feng Xinyang suddenly realized, Right, I almost forgot about this point. But you must come to the capital to attend college. The capital has the best educational resources. Moreover, your master likes to be idle and can't always take care of you. So if you come to the capital, we can take care of each other. Moreover, this way you and Ding Dang can be together again. Feng Xinyang, if you don't speak, no one will think you're mute. Yi Ding Dang couldn't bear it anymore and loudly protested. Her mind couldn't help but remember Tian Chanzi's words about having 3 wives and 4 concubines. She couldn't help but look at Tang Zheng and hatefully thought, do I have to stick to him even though I know he has a girlfriend? Pay. Am I, Yi Ding Dang, that kind of person? I don't like to be a third party. Moreover, I like heroes. Tang Zheng, her thoughts paused for a moment. It seemed that Tang Zheng was already moving towards becoming a hero. She quickly shook her head and drove this thought away. But another thought appeared. She had made a bet with Tang Zheng. If she surpassed Tang Zheng's cultivation, then Tang Zheng would announce to the world that he was inferior to her. But if she couldn't surpass him, then she had to marry him. Now that she found out that he had a master in the Grandmaster realm, how could she surpass him? Her heart skipped a beat. Could it be that this was a trap set by him? He knew that she couldn't surpass him, but he still made this bet. He wanted her to marry him. He was too bad. He had ulterior motives. Birds of a feather flocked together. With such a master, it was no wonder he had such a despicable idea and wanted to have a foot in both boats. But what should she do now? I, Yi Ding Dang, am a person of my words. I will never go back on my words. Do I really have to marry him as a third party? Please recommend me. Chapter 178. However, Tang Zheng was not as relieved as Tian Chanzi and said, Martial arts organization has great scholar-level experts, and I'm sure there is more than one. If you go, you may not be able to gain any advantage. Why don't we wait for them to attack? If one comes, we'll take care of one. After all, they won't come out in full force, which is beneficial to us. Tian Chanzi's eyes lit up and he laughed. Ha, kid, I didn't expect you to be so smart. That's a good idea. Lure the snake out of its hole and we'll wait for it. If one comes, we'll kill one. If one comes, we'll kill 2. We'll slowly weaken the martial arts organization's strength. Tang Zheng nodded and analyzed, but we'll be much more passive. It'll be a bit dangerous. Tian Chanzi did not care. What's there to be afraid of? There's nothing in this world that isn't dangerous. Only when there's danger will there be motivation. Kid, during this time, I'll have to urge you to practice well. Moreover, with the spirit stones, I believe you'll be able to achieve twice the result with half the effort. Tang Zheng excitedly agreed. He now knew that although his cultivation had increased very quickly and had surpassed most people, but for the predicament he was about to face, his skills were clearly not enough. Then where will you be staying during this time? Tang Zheng asked curiously. You're asking me, but who should I ask? You're the host, so this should be your room. Tian Chanzi said. Tang Zheng bitterly smiled. I can't bring you home, but I don't have an extra bed for you to sleep on, and I don't want to sleep with you. You think I want to sleep with you? Tian Chanzi shouted. Since I'm alive, of course I want to experience this society. Take me to Lin Hu's place. Where do you want to stay? Can I? I think his Shangshi bar is pretty good. It's lively and full of people. It's an excellent place to experience the world. Tang Zheng looked at him suspiciously and said, Shouldn't an expert like you go to a quiet place? That way you can have a pure heart and cultivate in peace. Pure heart, my ass. Tian Chanzi knocked him on the head. If a person really has a pure heart and few desires, then what's the point of cultivating? Humans had their own desires, which was why they pursued them through cultivation, thus reaching their own desires. For the past 1,000 years, whenever I had nothing to do, I would think about it. There are countless ways to cultivate. In the past, I spent most of my time cultivating in seclusion in the sect. Should I change my method? For example, entering the secular world and cultivating in the mortal world. Wouldn't that be twice as effective? Looking at Tian Chanzi's contemplative expression, Tang Zheng didn't believe him at all. He shouted, Who are you kidding? Entering the secular world to cultivate? I think you can't help but be tempted by the current colorful world. You used to tell me that you were too focused on cultivation to think about relationships between men and women. I think you just didn't have the chance in the past. Now you're moved, right? It was unknown if Heaven Monk had seen through his thoughts, but he flew into a rage out of humiliation and retorted, Brat, what do you know? I have a new understanding of life. If you don't understand, then don't say anything. Quickly take me to Lin Hu. Tang Zheng smiled mischievously and took the two to the Shangshi bar. Lin Hu happened to be in the bar. Although he now had many places under his control, he had a special fondness for the place where he started out, so he spent most of his time here. Dong Zi and Dao Zi were stationed at a few of the big venues to hold the line. Those jealous people who wanted to fish in troubled waters did not dare to act blindly without thinking. Without a doubt, Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix were the biggest power in Chongheng City, and no one dared to go against them. "Young Master Tang, why are you here?" Seeing Tang Jing enter the office, Lin Hu quickly got up and greeted him. "There's something. What's the matter?" Lin Hu couldn't help but look at Tian Chanzi. He had sword-like eyebrows, starry eyes, and long hair. He had such a temperament. Who was this? However, since Tang Jing didn't say anything, he also consciously didn't say anything. "Boy, you guys talk. I'll go down and take a look," Tian Chanzi casually said and pushed the door open. Lin Hu's heart jumped. He wondered if he had misheard. This person actually called young Master Tang a boy. Moreover, his attitude was so casual. It was incredible. Tang Jing saw through his thoughts and said, "During this time, he will stay in the Shengshi bar. If he needs anything, satisfy him." "No problem." Seeing Tang Jing so serious, Lin Hu immediately patted his chest and promised, "As long as he is happy, anything is fine. Don't worry, I don't think he will make trouble." "Then do you want to comfort a few girls to serve him?" Lin Hu carefully asked. Tang Jing couldn't help but laugh. Lin Hu was confused. Was this sentence so funny? Tang Jing really wanted to know how Tian Chanzi would react in front of few girls. Would he be unable to control himself? He shook his head and didn't want to think about this absurd scene. He said, "Don't mess around. Just do as he wishes. But don't provoke him. He has a bad temper and doesn't know how to control himself. It's easy to kill someone." Tang Jing knew that killing someone was too easy for Tian Chanzi. The laws of this world were not worth mentioning in his eyes. He didn't follow any laws, so it was better not to let people provoke him. Otherwise, it would only cause more trouble. Lin Hu's eyelids jumped. He asked, "Young Master Tang, is he an expert?" Tang Jing nodded. "How strong?" Tang Jing found it hard to describe. He also didn't want to scare him by telling him the truth. He vaguely said, "In short, he is very strong. He is much stronger than me." Lin Hu's jaw dropped. He knew how strong young Master Tang was. But that person was much stronger than young Master Tang. Hearing young Master Tang's tone, he definitely wasn't joking. This meant that that person was at a level that he couldn't imagine. He swallowed his saliva with difficulty. He took a deep breath and said, "Young Master Tang, don't worry. I will definitely take good care of him." Tang Jing didn't think that he would be so shocked. He could only bitterly smile. "I will be busy with the college entrance exam, so I will need you and Fire Phoenix to worry about the matters of the underworld. Young Master Tang, don't worry. We will definitely not lose face for you." Tang Jing was very relieved as he went downstairs with Lin Hu and Huang Zhang, only to see Heaven Monk sitting at the bar, leisurely sipping a small wine. Seeing Tang Jing come down, he even raised his wine cup towards him and said with a smile of exultation, "Little brat, this wine is not bad." Tang Jing shrugged and said, "I didn't expect you to be an alcoholic. I just haven't drunk in many years, so I wanted to taste it." "How am I an alcoholic?" Tian Chanzi retorted. Lin Hu looked at his glass. His eyelids couldn't help but twitch. He nervously said, "Senior, I will give you another glass." He then fiercely stared at the bartender and said, "Quickly change the wine. Get the best one." The bartender was shocked and quickly changed the wine. Tian Chanzi didn't understand what was going on and said, "This wine is very good." Tang Jing thought of something. Didn't people say that most of the wine in bars was fake? It seems that Tian Chanzi was drinking fake wine. He couldn't help but laugh. "I am finally sure that you are not an alcoholic. You finally got it. You have a good eye," Tian Chanzi said proudly. Tang Jing laughed, because an alcoholic can definitely tell that this wine is fake. But you drank it with relish. So you are definitely not an alcoholic. Tian Chanzi was stunned for a moment. He stared at the half-empty glass of wine. He frowned and angrily said, "Fake wine." Then he heavily put the glass on the bar. The remaining half of the wine quickly evaporated. It turned into a wisp of white smoke and disappeared. Lin Hu and the bartender saw this scene. They were dumbstruck. How powerful must one's martial arts be to easily turn half a glass of wine into steam? Please recommend. Chapter 179. In an antique room, Feng Shishir performed the ceremony of becoming a disciple. After Tian Chanzi drank the tea, he looked at Feng Shishir with a serious expression and said, "From today onwards, you are my disciple. You are officially a disciple of Kingsaman. Kingsaman is one of the top sects in the cultivation world, so you must remember your identity. When I find a sect in the future, I will put your name in the sect's register." Feng Shishir stared at him with sparkling eyes and said, "Your disciple will remember." Tian Chanzi finally smiled and said, "As long as you practice hard, I believe that with your talent, you will achieve great things in the future." Tang Zheng grabbed her slender waist and said, "Of course, don't you see? She's my girlfriend." Tian Chanzi, let me tell you, if you don't teach her all your skills, I will settle accounts with you. Tian Chanzi frowned and said, "Brat, you are the only one who dares to disrespect me. I am so angry. I accepted her as my disciple, so of course I will teach her all my skills. Since you're going to teach her all your skills, you should at least give her a gift. Don't be so stingy." Tang Zheng said. Heaven Monk's face immediately turned bitter and said, "You are not someone I don't know about, so the greeting gift will be delayed. Bayan, I will find a peerless treasure for my disciple as a greeting gift." "Haha, that's more like it." Tang Zheng winked at Feng Shishir. Feng Shishir covered her mouth and giggled. "Let's not talk about other things first. Hurry up and take out the spirit stones. We need them for our cultivation." Tang Zheng urged. "Okay, but a whole spirit stone is too much, so I've already cut it into small pieces. Take it." Tian Chanzi waved his hand, and the table was filled with spirit stones, shining like crystals. Feng Shishir exclaimed, "It's so beautiful. Where are these?" Tang Zheng told her the use of the spirit stones. She couldn't help but cheer. "Does that mean our cultivation will be faster in the future?" "Of course. Hurry up and put them away. These spirit stones will last you for a while." Tian Chanzi said. The two of them put away the spirit stones. Feng Shishir looked at Tian Chanzi's hand enviously and said, "Master, what kind of magic is this? It is so powerful." "This is not a rare magic. When your cultivation reaches a certain level, you will naturally be able to use it. However, if you have the opportunity to obtain a sumaru pouch in the future, you can also store things inside." Tian Chanzi said. "Sumaru pouch?" Tang Zheng and Feng Shishir asked curiously at the same time, "What is that?" "A sumaru pouch is a magic treasure. It is like a warehouse that can store many things. It is said that the most powerful sumaru pouch can even store an entire world. However, that is only a rumor." "So powerful!" the two of them exclaimed. "Doesn't that mean the sumaru pouch is a portable warehouse?" "Of course, I used to have a sumaru pouch. However, after the battle with the Een demons, I lost all my magic treasures," Tian Chanzi said regretfully. "Otherwise, he wouldn't have been unable to take out a gift for his disciple. In the future, if you have the opportunity, you will naturally be able to obtain even more mystical magic treasures. There is no need to exclaim." Tian Chanzi said, "Disciple, I will first guide you in your cultivation." The next few days, Tang Zheng spent his time cultivating and studying. The effects of the spirit stones were very good. He was also not in a hurry to use the spirit pill. After all, the spirit pill could cause a change in the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. It was easy for others to detect it. At this critical moment, he still had to be on guard. The effects of the spirit stones were even stronger than the spirit pill. After Tang Zheng absorbed 10 spirit stones, his qi had already risen to 7 inches and 8 parts. He was unexpectedly close to breaking through the threshold. This rocket-like speed made him go wild with joy. His cultivation was even crazier. Aside from studying and eating, he spent almost all of his time cultivating. Feng Shishir, under Tian Chanzi's supervision, also made rapid progress. Therefore, the two of them did not even have the opportunity to be intimate. June 7th. This was a particularly important day for students all over the country. Because the college entrance exam was here, everyone had to squeeze onto this single log bridge. Early in the morning, the third-year students of Pengcheng International School gathered at the school field. Later, they would all take the bus to the exam venue. This time, the exam venue was in another school. Lu Qingmei arrived at the office. She casually placed her bag on the desk and went to the bathroom. At this time, Wu Zuhong sneakily entered the office. She looked around. Seeing that there was no one around, she quickly opened Lu Qingmei's bag. Dozens of exam tickets impressively appeared in front of her eyes. Over the years, there were always students who forgot to bring their exam tickets and were unable to enter the exam venue. Therefore, the school simply collected the exam tickets of each class in the hands of the homeroom teacher and waited until the exam venue to distribute them. Therefore, all of the exam tickets of the third-year Class 7 were collected in the hands of Lu Qingmei. Wu Zuihong's eyes flashed with pride. She quickly found Tang Zheng's exam ticket and quickly put it in her pocket. She secretly sneered, "Tang Zheng, didn't you want to take first place in school? Without an exam ticket, I want to see how you can enter the exam venue. You still want me to not be a teacher? I want you to lose face in front of everyone. In front of everyone, you have to kowtow to me and admit your mistake." Wu Zuihong's eyes flashed with flames of hatred. She twisted her fat body and quickly walked out of the office. No one noticed her dirty tricks. Lu Qingmei came out of the bathroom. She casually picked up her bag and went to the field. She organized the students to board the bus. Seeing Tang Zheng walk over, Lu Qingmei smiled and patted his shoulder. "Good luck. Remember our agreement." Tang Zheng, of course, remembered. He confidently said, "You just wait. First place will be mine." "Hee, you have ambition." Lu Qingmei's smile made everyone stunned. They rarely saw Lu Qingmei smile. Normally, she was an ice beauty. Some people couldn't help but secretly size up Tang Zheng. He had an ambiguous relationship with the two school beauties. Could it be that he also had an affair with the ice goddess? This was too valiant. "Get on the bus." Lu Qingmei didn't pay attention to other people's strange looks and said softly. Not long after Tang Zheng got on the bus, Fang Shishir also came. She directly sat beside him and intimately held his shoulder and said, "Are you nervous?" Tang Zheng shook his head. "I've been waiting for this day for a long time. I'm not nervous." Fang Shishir secretly stuck out her tongue and said, "I'm a little nervous." Tang Zheng patted her hand and said, "Your grades are so good. Don't be nervous. Believe in yourself." Fang Shishir heavily nodded. She took a deep breath and patted her chest and said, "The two of us are in the same exam room. When I'm nervous, I'll look at you. Then I won't be nervous." "Boss, sister-in-law, you came so early." Feng Yong quickly walked over and sat in the seat in front of the two. He turned around and laid down on the seat. "Fatty, are you confident?" Feng Yong was full of confidence. He waved his fist and said, "Of course I'm confident. Boss, during this time, I've been implementing your revision plan. I've improved a lot. In the last month's exam, I even advanced to the top 50. Then this time, take the exam well. I'll see you in Beijing." Feng Yong's eyes lit up. "Boss, you decided? You're really going to study in Beijing?" Tang Zheng nodded. "Wow, that's great. I can still follow Boss in the future." "Boss, there are many hidden dragons and crouching tigers in Beijing. You have to take care of me." Feng Yong was overjoyed. "Then I also want to apply for university in Beijing. I want to go to the same university as you," Fang Shishir firmly said. Tang Zheng smiled, but didn't say anything. The Fang family had already arranged for Fang Shishir to go abroad. Tang Zheng had also thought about it carefully. Since studying abroad was Fang Shishir's childhood wish, then he couldn't deprive her of this wish. Therefore, he decided to let her study abroad. Although they would be separated for 4 years, didn't they still have winter and summer vacations? They could still see each other. Moreover, their lives would be very long. 4 years was a negligible amount of time. "What's so good about Beijing?" Yi Dingdang walked over and coldly said, "Feng Yong, sit down." Feng Yong moved to a seat near the window and beamed with joy. "Sitting with big sister Dingdang is my great honor. Haha, my luck is really good. I believe that my luck during the exam will also be off the charts." Tang Zheng and Yi Dingdong's eyes met for a moment and then separated. These past few days, Yi Dingdong's attitude towards Tang Zheng was very cold and indifferent. Tang Zheng felt that it was a bit strange, but he didn't probe further. He didn't know that his image in Fang Shishi's heart had already fallen to rock bottom. Big Sister Ding Dang, I think that Beijing is pretty good. It's the center of the country where the elites gather. That's right, Big Sister Ding Dang. Where do you want to go to university? Feng Yong continuously asked. Yi Ding Dang lightly said, Beijing. Wow, that's great. In the future, the four of us will be able to meet in Beijing. This is fate. Boss, don't you think so? Tang Zheng smiled and nodded his head. All right, everyone sit down. This is the most important day for all of you. I won't say any unnecessary words. I believe in everyone's ability, and I've also seen everyone's hard work. So good luck. Lu Qingmei got on the bus and encouraged everyone. Everyone eagerly nodded their heads in agreement. Teacher Lu, don't worry. We will definitely get good grades. We definitely won't lose face for grade 12 class 7. The bus brought the high-spirited students to the exam venue. There was already a sea of people outside. Aside from the students, there were also many parents. At the entrance of the exam venue, Lu Qingmei opened her bag and loudly said, I'll call your name. Whoever's name is called, come get your exam ticket and enter the exam venue. One by one, the students happily took their exam tickets and walked into the exam venue with their heads held high. Fang Shishi also took her exam ticket, but did not rush in. Instead, she waited by Tang Zheng's side. Not long after, Lu Qingmei finished handing out all the exam tickets in her bag. However, Tang Zheng's hands were empty. Lu Qingmei rummaged through her bag, but still could not find Tang Zheng's exam ticket. Tang Zheng saw something strange and asked, Teacher Lu, what's wrong? How come your exam ticket is missing? Lu Qingmei's face revealed an anxious expression. She searched everywhere, but came up empty-handed. I clearly remember putting it with the other exam tickets. Without an exam ticket, one cannot enter the exam venue. Then Tang Zheng would not be able to take the exam. Fang Shishi was even more anxious than Tang Zheng and hurriedly said, Teacher Lu, did you put it somewhere else? Lu Qingmei confidently said, Absolutely not. It has always been in my bag. Wu Zuehong had already finished handing out the exam tickets. Seeing Lu Qingmei and the others' panicked expressions, her eyes flashed with a cold smile. Chapter 180. Lu Qingmei rummaged through the bag, and then went back to the bus to carefully search, but she still could not find Tang Zheng's admission ticket. Read the latest chapter. She, who was always calm, became anxious and kept muttering in her heart. How could it be gone? Fang Shishi was also anxious to the point of stomping her feet. Tang Zheng, what should we do? Although Tang Zheng's face was calm, his heart was a bit anxious. The college entrance exam carried too much of his grandfather's expectations, so he had to participate. Moreover, he had a bet with the old witch. If he did not participate, then he would have to kowtow to her in front of everyone. He absolutely could not allow this to happen. Their actions had already attracted the attention of the other teachers, who quickly asked what was going on. How could the admission ticket disappear? It must have been lost somewhere. Someone said, Impossible. I remember clearly that all the admission tickets were in the bag. Lu Qingmei said resolutely, because she paid special attention to Tang Zheng. She even specifically checked his admission ticket. Someone whispered, Isn't that Tang Zheng? So his admission ticket was lost. He is the last in the school. If he doesn't participate in the college entrance exam, then the school's average score will increase a bit. Another person agreed. Yes, it seems like this is heaven's will. Wu Zuehong crossed her arms and proudly looked at this scene. Tang Zheng, you want to fight with me? You're still too inexperienced. This old lady has countless ways to make you lose face and play you to death. Seeing that the exam time was approaching, Tang Zheng advised Fang Shishi, Shishi, you go in first. I'll come later. Fang Shishi said dejectedly, Why would I go in? If you can't participate in the college entrance exam, then I won't participate either. Fang Shishi is the first in the school. If she doesn't participate in the college entrance exam, then it will be our school's loss. Someone said. Fang Shishir also heard this, but she didn't care at all. She stubbornly stood there without moving. Listen to me. Don't you trust me? I will definitely find a way to get in. Tang Zheng placed his hands on her shoulders and solemnly promised her. Fang Shishir still shook her head. Without an admission ticket, how could they sneak in? Even if they did, the teachers would check their credentials. No, I'll accompany you. At this moment, the principal walked over. He was personally leading the team for the college entrance exam this time, so he already knew about the situation here. Seeing that Fang Shishir was actually not participating in the college entrance exam, he hurriedly advised, "Student Fang Shishir, don't be stubborn. Hurry up and go in. The college entrance exam is very important. You've been studying for more than 10 years just for this day. Don't give up halfway." The headmaster is right. Let's go in, Tang Zheng urged. Yi Dingdang and Feng Yong had already entered the examination hall. Seeing that something had happened, Feng Yong hurriedly asked loudly, "Boss, what happened? Why haven't you come in yet?" Tang Zheng waved his hand and said, "You guys go in first. I'll be back in a bit." Yi Dingdang's hearing was excellent, so she heard the whole story and said, "Tang Zheng's admission ticket is missing." Feng Yong was shocked. How could this be? "Boss, wait for me. If worst comes to worst, I won't participate in the exam. I'll accompany you to find it." As he spoke, he was about to rush out. Tang Zheng hurriedly stopped him. "Fatty, hurry up and go back. Don't tell me you still don't trust me. I definitely have a way to find the admission ticket." Yi Dingdang looked at him with a complicated expression, but did not say anything. "What way do you have? The admission ticket won't just appear out of thin air." Fang Shishir anxiously shouted. Even if she lost her admission ticket, she would not lose her composure like this. This was because she knew all too well what the college entrance exam meant to Tang Zheng. Lu Qingmei's face was pale as she said, "Tang Zheng, I'm sorry. I really did lose my admission ticket." She still could not figure out how she lost it. Before leaving, she even checked everyone's admission ticket. Seeing the guilt in her eyes, Tang Zheng comforted her. "Don't worry, Teacher Lu. I'll go look for it. Who knows, maybe I'll be able to find it." The others all shook their heads. Tang Zheng was not afraid of biting his tongue when talking big. Where else would he go to look for it? When Wu Zuihong heard this, she almost laughed out loud in satisfaction. "Tang Zheng, I want to see where you'll find it. Unless you come and rummage through my pockets." While she was at it, she pinched her pockets. The admission ticket was still there. Fang Shishir clearly believed that this kind of situation was impossible. She stubbornly shook her head. "If you want to look for it, I'll go with you." Tang Zheng saw that he could not persuade her, so he had an idea. He leaned over and whispered into her ear, "I'll go find your master. He's very resourceful and will definitely have a way." Fang Shishir's eyes lit up. "Really? Really? So you should quickly go in? Don't worry about me. I'll be there in a bit." Fang Shishir let out a long sigh and said, "Then I'll wait for you inside. Come quickly." Tang Zheng smiled. "Don't worry." The others did not know how Tang Zheng managed to persuade Fang Shishir, but that was not their main concern. The main point was that Fang Shishir was willing to take the exam. She could win glory for the school. The principal beamed with joy and looked at Tang Zheng with praise. "Student Tang Zheng, this is the correct way to do things. But don't give up. You should hurry and find your admission ticket." Tang Zheng smiled and said, "Then I'll go look for it first." Lu Qingmei hurriedly said, "I'll go with you." Losing the admission ticket was her responsibility. Of course, she could not stay out of it. At this moment, her guilt was hard to describe. Tang Zheng waved his hand and said, "Teacher Lu, you should just stay here. I'll be back in a bit." Under everyone's suspicious gazes, Tang Zheng walked away. Wu Zuihong vented her anger and thought, "Shameless boasting. I think he's not going to look for his admission ticket. He's probably going to wipe his tears in the corner." Ha! Tang Zheng walked around the corner and dialed Tian Chanzi's number. Tian Chanzi was very fashionable and took the initiative to ask for a cell phone. "Little brat, aren't you in the middle of the exam? What are you calling me for? My admission ticket is missing. Do you have any way to get me one?" This was Tang Zheng's only hope. Tian Chanzi was confused. "What's an admission ticket?" "It's a document. It's very simple." "Oh, it's a small matter. Wait for me to come find you." Tian Chanzi said casually. Tang Zheng urged, "Hurry up, the exam is about to start." After 10 minutes, Tian Chanzi rushed over. His long black hair was particularly eye-catching. Many young girls who passed by exclaimed in exaggeration, "What a handsome uncle." Tian Chanzi smiled proudly and walked in large strides in front of Tang Zheng. "What does the admission ticket look like?" Tang Zheng hurriedly opened the photo on his cell phone. This was taken by Fang Shi when the admission ticket was issued. He did not expect it to come in handy now. Tian Chanzi curled his lips. "I thought it was something special. It's just this thing. It's not difficult at all." Heaven Monk bent down and picked up a small advertisement that looked like a business card. "This thing can solve all your problems." Tang Zheng suspiciously looked at the small business card and said, "How do I get this thing? Look at it." Tian Chanzi waved his hand in front of his eyes. The small business card in his hand disappeared and turned into an admission ticket. It was exactly the same as the one on his cell phone. Tang Zheng opened his eyes wide and looked at this magical scene. "What's going on?" "Hee illusions. It's just to deceive people's eyes. It's just a small trick. You can learn it when you reach the first grade of foundation establishment." Tian Chanzi proudly said. Tang Zheng held in his hand and looked it over. It was exactly the same as his admission ticket. He clicked his tongue and praised. "Too magical. How long can this last?" "Your exam in the next 2 days will definitely not be a problem." Tian Chanzi was full of confidence. "This is the most basic illusion. The truly advanced illusions are more powerful." Tang Zheng was not in the mood to pay attention to any advanced illusions. He turned around and rushed to the entrance of the exam room. He had not looked back and said, "Thank you for this time. I'll find you after the exam." "Hey, brat, I haven't finished speaking yet. Why are you running away so quickly?" Tian Chanzi muttered. When Tang Zheng ran to the entrance of the exam room, everyone's eyes were attracted to him. Lu Qingmei guiltily said, "Tang Zheng, I'm sorry." Tang Zheng quickly waved the admission ticket in his hand and said, "I found it." Lu Qingmei was stunned for a moment. She said in surprise, "You found it?" She quickly took it. It was indeed Tang Zheng's admission ticket. Everyone else was amazed at Tang Zheng's good luck. He actually found the admission ticket at the last moment. Wu Zuihong's eyes widened in disbelief. She stared at the admission ticket. How could he have it? Wasn't it in her pocket? She subconsciously put her hand in her pocket. The admission ticket was still there. Then where did Tang Zheng get the admission ticket in his hand? It was simply making something out of nothing. She looked as if she had seen a ghost. Her eyes were blank as she stared blankly at Tang Zheng walking to the entrance of the exam room. No. His admission ticket must be fake. He's lying. I can't let him succeed. I can't let him take the exam. I must make him kneel in front of me and kowtow. Wu Zuihong looked as if she was possessed. She took large strides to the entrance and loudly shouted, "His admission ticket is fake." Her lion's roar attracted everyone's attention. They all looked at her curiously. This teacher actually said that a student's admission ticket was fake. The exam room staff had already taken Tang Zheng's admission ticket. They curiously looked at Wu Zuihong and asked, "What did you say?" "His admission ticket is fake. You can't let him in." She hysterically roared. Tang Zheng's eyebrows jumped. There must be something wrong. How did the old witch know that the admission ticket was fake? Could it be that she was the one behind it? He instantly thought of her previous evil deeds. He suddenly realized that this time it must be her doing. If he didn't have Tian Chanzi's help, then he really wouldn't be able to take the exam. What she did was simply insane. Tang Zheng's face became gloomy. Lu Qingmei originally let out a sigh of relief. But now that she heard Wu Zuihong jump out and say such words, she flew into a rage. "Wu Zuihong, are you crazy? You have to take responsibility for what you said." The principal and other teachers also surrounded her. They all looked at her in confusion. Could it be that she was crazy? If Tang Zheng really faked his admission ticket, then wouldn't she be bringing shame to the school? Wu Zuihong touched the admission ticket in her pocket. Her face was fierce as she angrily stared at Tang Zheng. The exam room staff also seriously looked at the admission ticket in their hands. Chapter 181. The staff member frowned and solemnly asked, "How do you know that his admission ticket is fake?" There have always been cases of fraud in the college entrance exam, so the staff member didn't dare to take it lightly. Wu Tsuehong really wanted to immediately take out the admission ticket from her pocket, but that would change the situation. Everyone would know that she stole Tang Zheng's admission ticket and didn't let him take the college entrance exam. This would be a big crime. Not only would the school punish her, but no one would dare to be her student in the future. You just have to check carefully. You absolutely can't let anyone enter the exam room with a fake ID. This is blasphemy and an insult to the college entrance exam, Wu Tsuehong said with conviction. Lu Qingmei always knew that Wu Tsuehong was against Tang Zheng, but she didn't think that at this critical moment she would use such a despicable method. She flew into a rage and said, "Wu Tsuehong, you have to take responsibility for what you said. You are a teacher, yet you slandered a student for using a fake admission ticket. This is slander, do you know that?" Wu Tsuehong had nothing to fear as she believed that Tang Zheng's admission ticket was fake, so she unscrupulously said, "Of course I will take responsibility for what I said, but I also won't just watch a black sheep get away with it." Saying this, she proudly looked at Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng guessed that she must have something to do with the loss of the admission ticket. "Since you're looking for death, then I'll help you." Thus, he held his head high and said, "Today, there are so many witnesses, including the principal, teachers, students, and parents. Wu Tsuehong is a teacher, yet she slandered me for using a fake ID to enter the exam room. I want everyone to be the judge. If my ID is real, then what should I do with her? Get her out of here. This kind of person doesn't deserve to be a teacher." The students were the first to shout out. Obviously, many of them were also treated unfairly by teachers. Many of the family members were also indignant and agreed. If she really wanted to harm a student, then not only is this kind of person unsuitable to be a teacher, even her character is questionable. The college entrance exam is one of the most important exams in a student's life, yet she deliberately framed him. This kind of person should be punished by the law. The teacher, on the other hand, was obviously much more cautious. He looked at Wu Tsuehong with a complicated expression. Many people also knew about the conflict between Wu Tsuehong and Tang Zheng and despised her in their hearts. To treat a student like this, where was the demeanor of a teacher? The principal's face was cold. He felt ashamed that such a thing had happened in his school. He was not angry at Tang Zheng, but at Wu Tsuehong, who stirred up *T. As the leader of the senior year, she didn't even have a sense of the big picture. He couldn't put this kind of person in an important position in the future. Of course, he couldn't get angry at her now. Otherwise, others would think that he was deliberately covering up for Tang Zheng for the sake of the school's reputation. However, the look in his eyes could almost kill. Lu Qingmei did not have as many misgivings as she said with righteous indignation. "Wu Tsuehong, if Tang Zheng's test pass is real, then I will sue you for slander and have you accept the punishment of the law." Wu Tsuehong coldly snorted. She had nothing to fear, as if she didn't hear the voices of these people. There was only one thought in her mind. As long as it is found that Tang Zheng's test pass is fake, then all the problems will be solved. Others will think that I am an upright and plain-spoken person. Her wishful thinking was very good. Not only would she get her revenge on Tang Zheng, but it wouldn't cause too much damage to her reputation. However, there was a big premise for all of this, and that was that Tang Zheng's test pass must be fake. Looking at the complacent Wu Tsuehong, Tang Zheng sneered and said to the staff, "Please check carefully and prove my innocence." The staff nodded seriously. This kind of thing could not be sloppy, otherwise it would be easy to cause a big mess. Several staff gathered together to check again and again. Not long after, they came to a conclusion. The gaze they looked at Wu Tsuehong was clearly much colder, and there was also undisguised contempt and disgust. The others saw some clues. Suddenly, there was complete silence, and they all quietly waited for the staff to announce the results. Wu Tsuehong was completely unaware that bad luck was quietly falling on her head. She kept urging, "Hurry up and announce the results. This kind of cheating black sheep wants to go to university, dream on." The staff looked at her like she was an idiot, and then looked at the people who were raising their heads and said, "This student's test pass is real." Hua! The crowd was in an uproar. Wu Zuehong was actually framing a student and using such a despicable method. Suddenly, everyone looked at her with eyes full of disgust and contempt. They even wanted to stay far away from this kind of person, otherwise it would be an insult to themselves. Wu Zuehong's complacent smile came to an abrupt stop, as if she had been frozen. Her cheeks became stiff, and she suspected that she had misheard. How could Tang Zhang's test pass be real? It was clearly in her pocket. She couldn't help but shout, "No, it's definitely wrong. His is fake. You must have made a mistake. I ask you to check again." "Who do you think you are? You still want to ask us?" The staff rolled their eyes at her. This kind of person was already crazy and unreasonable. She even dared to question their work, so they unhappily reprimanded. "Are we the ones who have the final say, or are you the one who has the final say?" If the staff said it was real, then it must be real. No one believed Wu Zuehong, and they all started to criticize. How can this kind of person be a teacher? She must be expelled. Otherwise, how can we parents be assured to send our students to study under this kind of teacher? She is not nurturing the students. She is simply destroying the students. Too hateful. The teachers who usually had conflicts with Wu Zuehong also started to speak, and they all rejoiced in her misfortune. "Wu Zuehong, I didn't expect you to be this kind of person. I am ashamed to be associated with people like you." Lu Qingmei let out a sigh of relief. Tang Zheng was finally fine, but towards Wu Zuehong, her anger surged. She turned to the principal and said, "Principal, you saw it too. Wu Zuehong is not fit to be a teacher. This is an insult to teachers. Today, there are so many people in society who have opinions about teachers, and it is because of this kind of black sheep that caused us other teachers to suffer unjustified injustice. Principal, if you don't expel her, then I don't want to be a teacher anymore. It is a disgrace." The principal's face was very ugly. It was as gloomy as the sky before a storm. Listening to Lu Qingmei's righteous complaints and looking at the fervent gazes of others, he was in a difficult position. All of this was because of Wu Zuehong. He was really blind in the past to let her be the grade leader. Now, it was such a big joke, and she had tarnished the reputation of the school. Just as he was hesitating on how to deal with it, one of the parents shouted with righteous indignation, "She is not fit to be a teacher. She is a disgrace to teachers." Immediately, the voices sounded like a tsunami. "She is not fit to be a teacher. She is a disgrace to teachers." The principal's forehead was covered in cold sweat. It seemed that his position as principal had come to an end. How was he going to explain it to the school board when he went back? However, he had to make a prompt decision. So, with a sullen face, he shouted angrily, "Wu Zuehong, you are not needed for the rest of the work. Go home immediately and reflect. Wait for the school's decision. I will let the other teachers take over your work." Wu Zuehong's face was pale. Her body swayed, and she almost fell. She wanted to take out the admission ticket in her pocket, but that would be useless. Since the one in Tang Zheng's hand was real, then hers was fake. But how could it be fake? She didn't dare to take it out. That would make things worse. She looked at Tang Zheng's mouth that was gradually curling up into a smile. Her blood rushed up and she felt dizzy. Tang Zheng sneered. "Wu Zuehong, you don't have any morals to be a teacher, so don't think about being a teacher in the future." After saying that, he strode into the examination room. Pooh! Wu Zuehong felt something sweet in her throat and spat out a mouthful of blood. Her vision turned black and she fell to the ground. Ah! Immediately, waves of cries of alarm rang out. Over the years, they had heard of students fainting due to nervousness, but this was the first time a teacher had spat out blood and fainted. Wu Zuehong was truly unprecedented. However, no one pitied her. This kind of person only had herself to blame. The principal's face darkened. He had two male teachers drag Wu Zuehong away. Then, he flicked his sleeves and followed them back to the school. This matter must be dealt with seriously. Otherwise, Pengcheng International School's reputation would be completely ruined. A school for the rich? With this kind of teacher, how could those rich people be assured to send their children to this kind of school? Seeing Tang Zheng's figure gradually disappear, Lu Qingmei couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. She also felt that she had vented her anger. In the past, she didn't understand why Tang Zheng had such a deep conflict with Wu Cuihong. After this matter, she finally understood that Tang Zheng didn't do anything wrong. Towards people like Wu Cuihong, one must not be soft-hearted. Otherwise, it would only harm the future students. Tang Zheng completely threw this episode to the back of his mind. Wu Cuihong was at most a little spice in his life. She couldn't even cause a ripple in his life. When he walked into the examination room, Fang Shishir, who had been looking at the door, had her eyes light up. Her hanging heart finally returned to the bottom of her heart. A dazzling smile blossomed on her face, causing the surrounding boys to almost suffocate. Tang Zheng nodded at her with a smile and went to his seat. A moment later, the exam bell rang and the exam began. Immediately, Tang Zheng raised 120% of his attention. After the teacher gave out the exam papers, he started to work without any distractions. Ever since he started cultivating, his memory was astonishing. He had almost reached the realm of eidetic memory. In addition, his original grades were top-notch. After this period of revision and consolidation, it was like God had helped him. His pen flew like a dragon and snake. He didn't even raise his head to answer the questions. Even the invigilator couldn't help but look sideways. He walked behind him and quietly watched, looking at the pleasing Chinese characters on the exam papers, not to mention whether the answers were correct or not. Just the handwriting alone would make people feel refreshed. Tang Zheng didn't think much. He just quickly scanned through the questions and immediately answered them. It was as if he had already memorized the answers. This made the invigilator have an illusion. Could it be that he had already seen the exam papers? That's why he was so good. But that was just an illusion. The invigilator didn't take it seriously. An hour later, Tang Zheng raised his head. Ignoring the teacher and everyone else's incredulous eyes, he walked to the podium and said, "Teacher, I hand in my paper." The teacher was still in shock and asked, "You don't want to check it?" He saw very clearly that Tang Zheng finished and handed in his paper. He didn't even look at it. "No need," Tang Zheng said confidently. Then he walked out of the examination room under everyone's gaze. Since he wanted to prove to everyone that he was extraordinary, then of course he had to do something different, handing in his paper an hour and a half earlier. This was probably unprecedented. Chapter 182. When Tang Zheng walked out of the examination room, almost everyone looked at him. He was the first person to walk out of the examination room, and it was indeed a bit too early. Fairy. Immediately, there was a lot of discussion. Many people had recognized him as the protagonist of the admission ticket incident. For a time, Tang Zheng attracted more attention. Without a doubt, Tang Zheng was the undisputed center of attention today. He held his head high and puffed out his chest without the slightest bit of discomfort. He just wanted to let others see what kind of feats this trash, last place, could accomplish. Lu Qingmei looked at him and anxiously asked, "Tang Zheng, why did you come out so early? The exam is over." "The exam is over?" Lu Qingmei found it hard to believe. Even the teachers and parents next to them were surprised. Finishing the entire set of Chinese test papers in an hour was just too valiant. Really? Some people questioned. Tang Zheng smiled and didn't answer other people's questions. Lu Qingmei was still not at ease and asked, "Was it because of Wu Cuihong's matter that disturbed you?" "Too hateful. This matter is not over with her. I will definitely make her accept the punishment of the law." Lu Qingmei's character was cold, and she rarely got angry, but there was no doubt that Wu Cuihong's actions touched her bottom line. Degrees Celsius. Seeing her so worried, his eyes revealed undisguised guilt. Tang Zheng whispered, "Sister May, believe me, I did very well on the exam. Otherwise, I wouldn't have handed in the papers so early." Lu Qingmei stared blankly at him when he called her Sister May. Seeing that he didn't seem to be joking, and thinking of his previous shocking actions, Lu Qingmei gradually believed him. She nodded and said, "Well, I believe you. Next, let's prepare for the exam in the afternoon, or go rest first." "No need. I'll wait for sure here, Tang Zheng said. Then chat with me for a while. Lu Qingmei smiled. During this period of time, the smile on her face gradually increased. Even she herself did not notice this subtle change. An hour later, there were people handing in their papers one after another. When they came out, many students were comparing their answers with each other. Some of them got it right and cheered, while others got it wrong and were dejected. On the contrary, Tang Zheng was the most relaxed person. Lu Qingmei looked at him and couldn't help but tease. I think you're even more relaxed than me. You don't look like a candidate at all. I have confidence, Tang Zheng said indifferently. Lu Qingmei laughed involuntarily and said, I've rarely seen someone as confident as you. Those who don't know your background would think that you're arrogant. Even if you want to be arrogant, you need to have the ability to back it up. All right, I can't out-talk you. Tang Zheng watched from afar as he ding-dang walked out. He asked casually, How did you do? Not bad. Did you find your admission ticket in the end? Yi Ding-dang asked curiously. Of course. When did you come out? An hour ago. Yi Ding-dong's eyes widened in disbelief. So early. She already knew that Tang Zheng was hiding his strength, but she didn't think that it would be so terrifying. He actually handed in his paper in an hour. The other students who came out also heard of Tang Zheng's great achievements. They couldn't help but stare at him like he was a monster. Someone silently cursed. He usually gets last place. Could it be that he gave up and ran out after randomly answering the paper? Many people had this thought, so they looked at Tang Zheng with complicated eyes. But there was one person who looked at Tang Zheng with even more complicated eyes. Fear mixed with coldness. Takashi also handed in his paper and came out. He sat far away and quietly looked at Tang Zheng. Takashi and the other students didn't get along very well, so no one looked for him to compare answers. He was like a venomous snake quietly lurking. Tang Zheng didn't notice his eyes, otherwise he would have seen a trace of déjà vu. Feng Yong walked out and ran towards Tang Zheng from afar. Boss, did you take the exam? Of course I did. How was the exam? Feng Yong laughed. I knew that boss would definitely take the exam. Otherwise, it would be a loss to the country. I did pretty well. There were only a few questions that I didn't have much confidence in. Tang Zheng patted him on the shoulder and said, Good luck. Then he walked towards Feng Shishir. Feng Shishir excitedly pulled his hand and said, You handed in your paper so early. I was worried to death for you. Haha, since there's nothing to do, it's boring to sit inside. I don't have as much patience as you. When I came out, I glanced and saw that you were almost done. Why did you only come out now? Of course I had to check carefully. There can't be any mistakes. And keep it up, Tang Zheng praised. Everyone got on the bus one after another to eat lunch. Then they took a break and prepared for the afternoon exam. The news of Tang Zheng's exam permit had already spread among the students. Feng Yong was filled with righteous indignation. Boss, this old witch is too evil. She actually framed you like this. You must not let her go. Even the other students who weren't familiar with Tang Zheng said, Tang Zheng, this matter must be investigated to the end. This kind of teacher is simply a student's nightmare. Feng Shishir held Tang Zheng's hand. She didn't expect that he had experienced such a complicated story. She couldn't help but speak up for him. Yes, we must investigate to the end. It's too much to accuse someone wrongly. Tang Zheng moved close to her ear and whispered, Actually, what the old witch said was right. The exam permit in my hand is indeed fake. Ah, Feng Shishir was shocked. Seeing the others look over, she quickly covered her mouth. What happened? Tian Chanzi used illusions to make a fake exam permit to deceive people. Tang Zheng said as he took out the exam permit. Feng Shishir looked left and right. This exam permit couldn't be more real. But since Tang Zheng said so, then this exam permit must be fake. This illusion is really mysterious. Master is really amazing. When we go back, I must properly thank him. Feng Shishir said happily. Suddenly, her heart moved. But how did Wu Cuihong know that your exam permit is fake? Tang Zheng coldly snorted and said, This is the strange part. That's why I suspect that the loss of my exam permit has something to do with her. Could it be that she stole your exam permit? Fang Sure couldn't believe it. Tang Zheng nodded. Most likely. Can I have a bet? She was worried that I would get first place. Before, she used the tuition fee to force me to drop out. This time, she didn't want me to take the exam so that she could win the bet. Despicable. Too despicable and shameless. Fang Sure was furious. We must not let her go. We must do something to teach her a lesson. Seeing that she was like an angry lioness, Tang Zheng laughed. Don't be so angry. She's just a clown. She won't be able to make big waves. Fang Sure resolutely shook her head. No, she's targeting my boyfriend. I can't just sit and watch. Then what do you want to do? Tang Zheng curiously asked. Fang Sure's face was red. After thinking for a long time, she said, beat her up. Tang Zheng really wanted to laugh and say, you've never beaten anyone before. That's why I don't mind making an exception for you. Fang Sure's expression was firm. Tang Zheng patted her hand and said, you don't have to worry. I'll take advantage of the lunch break to meet her. I'll go with you. Okay. After eating lunch, the other students went to a nearby hotel to rest. This hotel had already been booked by Peng Chung International School. This was a school practice. This aristocratic school did not lack money. In order to create the best exam atmosphere for the students, they specially booked a hotel for the students to rest. Tang Zheng and Fang Sure quietly slipped out of the hotel and returned to Peng Chung International School. They went straight to the teacher's dormitory. During the college entrance exam, the school was on holiday. Therefore, there were no students in the school. Even the teachers were very few. Tang Zheng heard that Wu Cuihong had been brought back to her dormitory. Peng Chung International School's teachers were treated very well. They were all assigned dormitories. However, many of the teachers did not live here. They only used it as a temporary resting place. Wu Cuihong also did not live here. However, she would usually come to the dormitory for lunch break. Tang Zheng and Fang Sure quietly went upstairs. They did not meet a single person. They directly went to Wu Cuihong's dormitory door and listened. With Tang Zheng's extraordinary hearing, he heard everything clearly. Wu Cuihong was talking to herself. The exam ticket is clearly in my hands. How could he take out another one? My exam ticket is the real one. Wu Cuihong was puzzled. Just now, she had checked the exam ticket countless times. Based on her many years of college entrance exam experience, this exam ticket was the real one. In other words, the one Tang Zheng took out was a fake. But how could he fool the staff? Moreover, why did he prepare it beforehand? It was as if he knew what she was going to do. Wu Cuihong found that she was gradually unable to see through Tang Zheng, this student who had won her many honors in the past. Because of his poor family background, she made things difficult for him. She did not reflect on her attitude towards Tang Zheng. Instead, she was tangled up in the exam ticket issue. No, he embarrassed me this time. Even the principal has a problem with me. Moreover, that bitch Lu Qingmei is fanning the flames. I definitely can't stay in this school. While the other school has already asked me to go there. Since I can't stay here anymore, then I can't let Tang Zheng have it easy. He only took one exam. I must find a way to stop him from taking another exam. She muttered to herself as if she was possessed. Her eyes flashed with a sinister light. Suddenly, she had an idea. I'll drug him so that he can't take the exam. Her eyes gradually lit up. She suddenly turned around and wanted to go out. However, she found two people standing at the door. Tang Zheng and Fang Sure gnashed their teeth as they looked at her. The two of them noiselessly entered the room and heard her muttering clearly. A chill rose from the bottom of their hearts. She never changed. She was too vicious. She even wanted to drug Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng rejoiced. If it wasn't for Fang Shure's reminder, he would have found out about Wu Cuihong's vicious plan. If Tang Zheng was drugged, he didn't know if his body could withstand it. In short, it would definitely affect his exam. This was something he absolutely could not tolerate. How did you come in? Wu Cuihong's plan was exposed. Her face was pale as she stared at the two people in disbelief. Chapter 183. Wu Cuihong, you're too vicious. You actually want to use poison to harm Tang Zheng. Fang Sure could not suppress her anger as she trembled as she spoke. Wu Tsuehong flew into a rage. He brought all of this upon himself. Time and time again, he went against me. You can't blame me. You still have the face to say this. When Tang Zheng was in Class 1, how much honor did he earn for you? You're simply ungrateful. Fang Shishir complained. Wu Tsuehong disdainfully said, That's what he should do. A pauper came to our school and even waived all tuition fees. If he didn't earn a bit of honor, then what's the point of having him here? Don't tell me we're just going to let the money go to waste. After Wu Tsuehong went through the initial panic, she became calm and composed. She always believed that she was a teacher and was a level above the students. Even if she was exposed, she was not afraid. Shut up. Fang Shishir hysterically roared. She was really angry. I used to respect you so much. It turns out you're this kind of person. I can only blame myself for being blind. Wu Tsuehong curled her lips and said, Fang Shishir, you're also not a good student. I used to think so highly of you, but you actually transferred to Class 7 for a trash like him. You've embarrassed me. Enough, Tang Zheng roared. His voice was like thunder exploding in Wu Tsuehong's ears. Seeing Tang Zheng's angry appearance, Wu Tsuehong was not afraid. Instead, she proudly laughed. Did I say anything wrong? She and you are jackals of the same tribe. It's just that she pretended to be good before. Since she was prepared to leave this school, she did not care about offending Fang Shishir and exposing her true and sinister side. Tang Zheng, you're angry, right? But what can you do to me? I'm a teacher and you're a student. You can never do anything to me. Although you heard my plan and will definitely take measures, I have other plans that you won't be able to guard against. You want to get into a university? Keep dreaming, haha. Wu Tsuehong laughed, not bothering to hide her malevolence. Crazy. She's already completely crazy. She can't be reasoned with. Fang Shishir angrily said, I'm crazy, haha. How can I be crazy? I'm very clear-headed. Wu Tsuehong retorted. Tang Zheng's face was gloomy as he looked at the crazy her and said, I really feel sorry for you. You spent so much effort to deal with me. In fact, I never treated you as my enemy because you were too insignificant. You are not worthy of being my enemy. Wu Tsuehong's expression suddenly changed. What? You're saying that I'm not worthy? To say. You to say. In. Tang Zheng shook his head, but on the contrary, he was not too angry, only sorrowful. Tangling with this kind of person for too long was simply a waste of time. You too. Be. Too. Be she. Be. She must have harmed a lot of people in the past. Let her be immersed in madness for the rest of her life. Just treat it as the punishment she deserves. Tang Zheng said coldly without the slightest bit of pity. He didn't want to continue entangling with her, but he couldn't let this potential danger exist. Tang Zheng, I think you're the crazy one. You've offended me. I won't let you have an easy time. Wu Tsuehong roared. Tang Zheng, do it. I don't want to see her like this again. Fang Shishir said in disgust. Tang Zheng nodded and pulled out the War Soul Sword. During this period of time, in order to guard against the attacks of the martial organization, he had been carrying the War Soul Sword with him. Even today, he brought it with him during the college entrance exam. What are you doing? Do you dare to kill me? Wu Tsuehong looked at the War Soul Sword that was shining with a cold light. She was shocked and subconsciously took a step back. Tang Zheng curled his lips and snorted. Using the War Soul Sword to kill you is simply an insult to the War Soul Sword. I said I would make you go crazy, so I will naturally make you go crazy. Tang Zheng silently used his qi. Immediately, the War Soul Sword flashed with a black light and a huge monster flew out, flying straight towards Wu Tsuehong. Wu Tsuehong's eyes widened as she stared at the thing that was flying toward her. The War Soul Sword was tall, its clothes were ragged, and its face was ashen. Although it wasn't as terrifying as the green-faced beast, just one look was enough to make people feel terrified. What is this? Wu Tsuehong felt her entire body turn cold, as if she had fallen into an ice cave. Moreover, a fishy smell assaulted her face. She couldn't help but shiver. Tang Zheng sneered and didn't answer her. The War Soul Sword suddenly threw her to the ground and opened its mouth as if it wanted to swallow her. Wu Tsuehong finally couldn't endure the fear and shouted, No! The chilly wind blew, and ghosts wailed and wolves howled. The room was like a ghost world. Wu Tsuehong had hallucinations in an instant. It was as if there were many green-faced, fanged ghosts pouncing on her from all directions, demanding her life. Even two hands reached out from her feet to grab her ankles and drag her down to the ground. This was the terrifying part of the Yin Qi. Many people in places where the Yin Qi was strong and their minds were not firm, they would involuntarily think of terrifying things. This was also why Xie Yaoren would unconsciously feel a sense of fear when he entered a haunted house. It was because the Yin Qi affected the brain waves and the subconscious uncontrollably produced hallucinations. Wu Tsuehong was like this. She kept twisting and turning as if she wanted to break free from something. The War Soul Sword stood by her side and didn't move at all. However, a steady stream of Yin Qi was emitted, filling the entire room. "Ghost, ghost, don't catch me, don't catch me," Wu Tsuehong screamed at the top of her lungs. This was the first time Feng Shirshi saw the War Soul Sword. Its terrifying appearance made her somewhat afraid, and she couldn't help but pull on Tang Zheng's clothes. Tang Zheng quickly held her hand and said, "Don't be afraid, he won't hurt you." Feng Shirshi nodded and took a deep breath. "I'm not afraid with you here." Then she looked at the twisted Wu Tsuehong. "She's already gone crazy, right?" Tang Zheng nodded. "She's scared out of her wits. She can't harm anyone in the future." "Serves her right," Feng Shirshi said in disgust. "Let's go. Her screams are so loud, it won't be long before other people come." Tang Zheng withdrew the War Soul Sword and expressionlessly looked at Wu Tsuehong. Her facial muscles were twisted together, and she was trembling nonstop. He pulled Feng Shirshi and quickly left the dormitory. Wu Tsuehong's screams finally attracted people. When they saw her incontinence, her face was pale and she was trembling nonstop. Everyone was in disbelief. However, someone immediately suggested that she might have been scared silly by the upcoming punishment, so no one suspected Tang Zheng. The news of Wu Tsuehong being scared silly spread like wildfire. Even Tang Zheng and the others in the hotel heard the news. He and Feng Shirshi tacitly kept silent. The others had mixed feelings. Wu Tsuehong was actually scared silly by the punishment. She was really too weak. However, this was only a small interlude. The college entrance exam continued, and everyone put their energy into it. Tang Zheng continued to maintain an abnormal speed of answering the questions. Every time, he would hand in the papers much earlier and then walk out of the exam hall under the almost numb expressions of everyone. Many people who didn't know what was going on shook their heads. This kind of self-abandonment was too undesirable. Some people looked at his confident appearance and muttered to themselves. Could it be that he wasn't giving up on himself, but had truly reached this level of strength? Amidst many doubts and suspicions, the college entrance exam ended. Everyone's lives temporarily came to an end. Everyone was either excited or disappointed, but at least they had walked through the most important journey of their lives. When Tang Zheng and Feng Shirshi were preparing to leave the exam hall, Feng Xinyang rushed over. When she saw him and Feng Shirshi holding hands intimately, she could not help but sigh. It seemed that Ding Dang was not working hard enough. This girl from the Feng family had him under control. However, Feng Xinyang was not discouraged. There was still a long way to go, and it was still unknown who would win and who would lose. "Little handsome brother, how was the exam?" Feng Xinyang asked. "Not bad. Aunt Feng, did you come pick up Ding Dang?" Feng Xinyang shook her head. "I came specially to find you. Come to our house for dinner. I have something to talk to you about." Feng Shirshi curiously looked at Feng Xinyang. She did not know why Tang Zheng and the Ye family had such a close relationship, but she did not open her mouth. Tang Zheng thought about Feng Xinyang's matchmaking and felt a headache. He looked at Feng Shirshi and his heart moved as he said, "Aunt Feng, can Shirshi come with me?" Feng Xinyang smiled and said, "Of course you can." Feng Shirshi sweetly looked at Tang Zheng and tightly held his hand. Yi Ding Dang walked over and asked in astonishment, "Feng Xinyang, why did you come?" "I came to invite the little handsome brother to our house." "Let's go, get in the car." Feng Xinyang started the car. Yi Dingdang expressionlessly looked at Tang Zheng and sat in the front passenger seat. Tang Zheng and Feng Shishir sat in the back. The group of people sped into the Ye family manor. Yi Tianlei was waiting for Tang Zheng in the living room. He glanced at Feng Shishir. Feng Xingyang understood and said, Dingdang, take Feng Shishir classmate to play for a while. We have something to discuss with the little handsome brother. Yi Dingdang unwillingly curled her lips. Every time her parents looked for Tang Zheng, they were always so secretive. As their own daughter, she was not as good as an outsider. Tang Zheng patted Feng Shishir's hand and gently said, I'll come find you later. Feng Shishir smiled and obediently nodded. The three of them came to the study and sat down. Yi Qianlei's face was very serious as he said, Little Tang, our family will go to the capital tomorrow. Tang Zheng was shocked. So fast. Little handsome brother, during this time, the martial organization has not responded. We feel that something is strange, so we will go back to the capital to inquire about the news. Feng Xingyang also became serious. Tang Zheng's heart moved. During this time, the martial organization had indeed laid low, which was not in line with the martial organization style of doing things. As long as the martial organization reported the matter of the ordinary balance, the martial organization should not be silent. What was the problem? Little Tang, you really don't want to go to the capital with us? Yi Tianlei asked. Tang Zheng shook his head. He wanted to use the summer vacation to go to Dianan and find a way to get Mu Hongyan's late husband's profound level magic weapon. Chapter 184. Seeing that Tang Zheng had made up his mind, the couple did not try to persuade him any further and only warned him. Then you must be careful in ordinary balance in case the martial organization comes looking for trouble. That's right. Is your master still in ordinary balance? Yes. /o/ /o/ Tang Zheng could not help but think of Lin Hu's report that Tian Chanzi was free and unfettered in Shangshi Bar. It was said that there were many young ladies and even rich madams trying to strike up a conversation with him. Tian Chanzi loitered around the flower bushes, but not a single leaf touched him. He did not have any relationship with any of the women, which made them extremely disappointed. However, it also aroused their interest. They spent all day in the bar just to spend more time with him. There were even a few women who fought over Tian Chanzi. Tang Zheng could not help but sigh. Tian Chanzi's charm was truly great. He did not know how many times his face was compared to Xiao Bai's face. Yi Tianlei and his wife, of course, did not know about Tian Chanzi's affairs. They let out a sigh of relief. Yi Tianlei said, As long as your master is here, you should be safe for the time being. When we return to Beijing, we will contact you as soon as we find any news about the martial organization. Little handsome brother, which university do you want to apply to? Feng Xingyang changed the topic and asked. Yinqing University. Feng Xingyang's eyes lit up. She smiled and said, That's the best. Dingdang will also apply to this university. In the future, you two will still be classmates. You have to take care of her. Tang Zheng froze for a moment. He bitterly smiled at Feng Xingyang. Feng Xingyang slyly smiled. Yi Tianlei did not have the mind to pay attention to his wife's thoughts. His brows were still knitted together as he said, There's another matter. I heard that last time you disrupted Song Yu and Ding Dong's marriage. The Song family is very dissatisfied. If you go to Beijing, there may be some trouble. Song Yu? Tang Zheng immediately remembered. In the beginning, he did not have many conflicts with this young master. Later on, because of Yi Dingdong's marriage, although the two of them did not have any conflicts on the surface, there was definitely a knot in their hearts. Moreover, Song Yu and Qin Lao were scared away by his heavenly flying immortal's sword technique. It could be said that he had lost face. Later on, when Yi Xuanji annulled the marriage, it caused the Song family to lose a lot of face, causing cracks to appear in the originally good relationship between the Yi and Song families. Moreover, with the influence of the Song family, they could certainly find out that Tang Zheng played a crucial role in this matter. However, for the time being, no one knew that Yi Xuanji's life was also saved by Tang Zheng. Otherwise, there would definitely be a lot of people flocking to him for treatment. Little Tang, this matter was caused by Ding Dang. I will definitely not sit by and do nothing. When I return to the capital, I will immediately deal with this matter and try not to cause you any trouble. Yi Tianlei said guiltily. Feng Xinyang coldly snorted and said, if the Song family really wants to cause trouble for Little Handsome Brother, then I will stand up for Little Handsome Brother. Others may be afraid of the Song family, but I am not. Yi Tianlei bitterly smiled. The Song family's influence is much greater than the Ye family. Moreover, the old ancestor of the Song family is a great scholar. If you go, wouldn't you be like a sheep entering a tiger's den? Feng Xinyang raised her eyebrows and said without a trace of fear, as long as they dare to deal with Little Handsome Brother, I will fight to the end even if I have to risk my life. Don't forget, who was the one who saved us from the Marshall Organization? Yi Tianlei's expression turned cold and said, of course I didn't forget. Little Tang's kindness to the Ye family cannot be repaid in a lifetime. Of course, I won't let anything happen to him. Uncle Yi, Aunt Feng, your words are too serious. Tang Zheng said with shame. The Ye family had suffered an unexpected calamity, and now the two of them were deeply grateful to Tang Zheng. However, Tang Zheng could not say the truth and could only feel touched in his heart. Different situations call for different measures. If the Song family really wants to deal with me, then let them come. Tang Zheng heroically said. Feng Xinyang laughed loudly and patted Tang Zheng's shoulder. This is what it means to be a real man, indomitable and full of courage. Then, little Tang, we will meet again in the capital. Several people walked out of the study. Yi Dingdang and Feng Shishir also walked in from outside. Feng Shishir praised. Dingdang, your family's house is really big. No matter how big it is, we won't live in it. We want to go to the capital. That's a pity. When Feng Xinyang heard this, she had a bright idea and said, Little Handsome Brother, if we leave, no one will live in this house. How about you and your grandfather move in? We also have some servants who can guarantee that the old man will live a comfortable life. Feng Shishir looked at Feng Xinyang in surprise. This was a big deal. The house that her family gave Tang Zheng could not be compared to this manor. Why is the Ye family so good to Tang Zheng? She muttered in her heart. Tang Zheng was stunned and refused. Aunt Feng, I appreciate your good intentions. My grandfather will definitely not be used to living in this kind of big house. Moreover, he is not used to being served by others. This is quite good. During this period of time, the old man left early and returned late with a smile on his face. Tang Zheng did not know what he was busy with, but as long as he was happy, Tang Zheng was satisfied. Tang Zheng was not moved by this huge amount of wealth, which made Feng Shishir happy. She had chosen the right boyfriend. Feng Xinyang did not give up and said, That won't do. This is my gift to you. If you refuse, then you are not giving me face. This, Tang Zheng bitterly smiled. This Feng Xinyang's enthusiasm was sometimes a little unbearable. Yi Dingdang stared at Tang Zheng. Her family's house was so good to give to him, but he still refused. Yi Tianlei advised, Little Tang, just accept it. In the future, if we occasionally go back to ordinary balance, we can still live there. If we give it to others, we won't feel at ease. As for selling it, it won't be worth much. Won't be worth much? Tang Zheng's eyeballs were about to fall out of their sockets. If this was not worth a bit of money, then everyone in Chongheng City would be living in the slums. Tang Zheng could not refuse such kindness. Moreover, money was gradually not that important in his eyes, so he no longer refused and said, Okay, I'll accept it. I'll call someone to take care of it. Feng Xinyang beamed with joy. That's more like it. Let's go and eat. After eating, Tang Zheng and Feng Shishir left in a car. Feng Shishir could not help but stick out her tongue and said, The Ye family is too good to you. They are even better than a son-in-law. Tang Zheng gave an embarrassed smile. Don't talk nonsense. Humph, I'm not talking nonsense. I think that as long as you agree, especially Yi Dingdang's mother, she will go crazy with joy. She will immediately marry her daughter to you. Feng Shishir said sourly. Tang Zheng laughed out loud. Yo, why do I smell a whiff of vinegar? Feng Shishir's charming face turned red. She used her white fingers to poke his forehead and said, "I'm reminding you that you have a girlfriend. You can't fool around." Looking at her cute appearance, Tang Zheng could not help but kiss her forehead. Feng Shishir shyly pushed him away. Seeing that they were already in front of her door, she said, "My mom will see. What's there to be afraid of? Last time I spent the night at your house." "Don't say it." Feng Shishir quickly covered his mouth. "Now that the college entrance examination is over, let's go somewhere to play. Other people will travel after the college entrance examination." Tang Jing's head moved. It would be better to take her with him to Dianan. Otherwise, after this summer vacation, the two of them would not see each other for a long time. "Well, I plan a long trip," Tang Zheng said. Feng Shishir also said it casually. She did not expect him to agree. She was so excited that she almost jumped up. She hugged his neck and took the initiative to give him a kiss. "You are so good." Tang Zheng hugged her. "If I'm not good to you, who else can I be good to?" Feng Shishir's heart seemed to melt. She blinked and said shyly, "Why don't you come to my house tonight?" Tang Zheng's heart was burning. He hurriedly nodded. "Okay." During this time, Tian Chanzi supervised his practice. The two of them did not have a chance to be intimate. Now that they were relaxed after the college entrance examination, they took the opportunity to celebrate. "I'll wait for you." When Tang Zheng returned home, he found his grandfather sitting on the sofa, watching TV with blank eyes. Hearing the sound of the door opening, he quickly turned his head. "Little Zheng, how was the exam?" "Grandpa, no problem. Just wait for my good results," Tang Zheng said confidently. Tang Dahai smiled with relief. "Looking at you so promising, I'm really happy." As he spoke, tears appeared in his eyes. "Grandpa, this is all thanks to you. If you didn't raise me, I would have died long ago. How could there be today?" Tang Zheng said emotionally. Tang Dahai shook his head and said, "I only gave you the most basic. It's your own hard work. If your parents see you so excellent, they will definitely be gratified." Tang Zheng's heart felt as if it was fiercely stabbed as he said, "Grandpa, in this world, I only have you as my family. Ever since they abandoned me, I have nothing to do with them. Moreover, after so many years, they haven't come back to find me. This shows that they have long forgotten about me." When he was young, Tang Zheng would look at other people's children being loved by their parents. He would be very envious. He would ask his grandfather where his parents were and why they didn't come to see him. Since he gradually understood, he realized that he was abandoned by his parents. So his love for his parents was completely transferred to his grandfather. His grandfather had done too many things for him. He would never be able to repay him in this lifetime. Tang Dahai sighed and said, "Although I don't know why they were so cruel, I think they must have their own difficulties." The old man was kind and always thought of others as good. Tang Zheng heard this and remained silent. "Little Zheng, seeing you so promising, I am very gratified and happy. I know that you are about to grow wings and see the outside world. So there is something I must tell you. Otherwise, it would be unfair to you." Tang Dahai said, "What is it?" Seeing his grandfather speak so seriously, Tang Zheng wrinkled his eyebrows. "Wait a moment, I will go get something for you." Tang Dahai got up and returned to his room. Not long after, he took out a fist-sized wooden box. He trembled as he opened the wooden box. Inside the box was a piece of red cloth. "Grandpa, what is this? How come I have never seen it before?" Tang Zheng curiously asked. Tang Dahai bitterly smiled as he took out the red cloth and opened it bit by bit. Finally, a sparkling and translucent jade pendant was revealed. With Tang Zheng's shallow knowledge of jade, he could see that the quality of this jade pendant was definitely not comparable to the jade he had bought before. This was a priceless jade pendant. How could his family have such a precious thing? Tang Zheng was confused. Tang Dahai stared at the jade pendant in a daze. His gaze became deep, as if he was remembering something. Chapter 185. Seeing the old man not say a word, Tang Zheng also became silent, his eyes fixed on the jade pendant. Looking carefully, the jade pendant actually had a single character engraved on it. Marshall. Free novel Portal Tang Zheng's suspicions were immediately raised. Just what was the origin of this jade pendant? How could it have a single character engraved on it? Tang Dahai let out a long sigh and faintly said, "Little Zheng, there is something I must tell you. That year when I picked you up, you had a keepsake by your side, which was this jade pendant. Later on, I asked many people about it, but no one was clear on the origin of this jade pendant, so I did not delve into it and put it away." Tang Zheng's head moved, his eyes burning as he stared at the jade pendant, and said, "This is with me?" Tang Dahai nodded his head. "I think that perhaps this jade pendant can solve the mystery of your life." Saying this, he placed the jade pendant into Tang Zheng's hands. Tang Zheng carefully examined it. The martial character engraved on the jade pendant was bold and powerful, as if it was carved with a knife and an axe, as if it was releasing an imposing aura. This was definitely not the work of an ordinary craftsman, but the work of a master craftsman, especially the martial character. Ordinary people would not see it as anything special, but in Tang Zheng's eyes, it had an indescribable charm, a vast and imposing aura. "Little Zheng, in the future when you go out, ask around for more information about this jade pendant. Maybe you can find your birth parents." Tang Dahai faintly said. Tang Zheng's spirit trembled. He placed the jade pendant back into the wooden box and said, "Grandfather, no need. I don't want it. Little Zheng, I know your intentions. You are afraid that I will be sad, but Grandpa will tell you that only when you truly investigate your own background will I be the happiest. Everyone has their own roots, and you also need to know where your roots are." Tang Zheng firmly shook his head, pointed at his feet, and resolutely said, "My roots are here, in our home." Tang Dahai's eyes were filled with an indescribable emotion, but he still advised, "Little Zheng, listen to Grandfather's words. This is Grandfather's wish. You must help Grandfather achieve his wish." Saying this, he placed the jade pendant back into Tang Zheng's hands. "In the past, it was my wish to raise you into an adult. Now that I see you so promising, I am satisfied, so my biggest wish now is to meet them." Tang Dahai sighed. "I believe that the heavens have eyes and will definitely let you see them." Tang Zheng blankly looked at his grandfather. He clenched his teeth, hung the jade pendant around his neck, and said, "Okay, I promise, Grandfather." But in his heart, he also determined that he would not be able to investigate the jade pendant's origin. Tang Dahai patted his shoulder, incomparably gratified. In the middle of the night, Tang Zheng secretly snuck into Fang Shishi's home. Currently, her family did not live in a villa, but rather in a high-end residence. On the 9th floor, Tang Zheng quietly jumped through the window into Fang Shishi's bedroom. Shi Mengqin would never have thought that such a high floor would not be able to stop Tang Zheng's sneaky footsteps. Fang Shishi threw herself into his embrace and took the initiative to give him a kiss, but she felt that Tang Zheng was not enthusiastic and was a bit strange. "What's wrong?" Tang Zheng secretly sighed. "You have something on your mind. Can you tell me?" Fang Shishi rarely saw him like this, and her heart tightened as she asked with concern. "It's nothing. You don't have to worry." Tang Zheng forced out a smile and tightly hugged her. But Fang Shishi clearly did not believe him, as she stared at him and said, "I am your girlfriend. Is there something you can't tell me?" Seeing her concerned eyes, Tang Zheng's heart softened. Fang Shishi pulled him to sit at the head of the bed, nestled in his embrace, and quietly waited for him to speak. Tang Zheng hesitated for a long time, but still told her what happened tonight. Fang Shishi listened with fascination, and her eyes gradually became misty. The person she loved so deeply had so many twists and turns in his past that she had neglected, and she could not help but blame herself. Immediately, she hugged Tang Zheng even tighter and buried her head in his neck. She gently stroked the jade pendant and whispered, "Tang Zheng, since you have decided to leave everything to fate, then don't think about these things. If we really are fated to meet again, we will not be able to predict the situation at that time, so we just need to live well now. I will always be with you and will never leave you." Seeing the tears in her eyes, he gently wiped them away with his hand and said, "All right, let's just live happily now. Everything else can be thrown to the back of our minds. With Grandfather here, with you accompanying me, I am the happiest person in the world. I'm the happiest person in the world. Feng Shishir smiled through her tears and took the initiative to undress, revealing her attractive body in front of Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng's breathing could not help but quicken, as nothing was more important than now. The flames in his heart had been completely ignited. Not long after, the sound of delicate breathing could be heard in the room. Change positions. This time we'll do it from behind. Feng Shishir's face was red, as she shyly suggested. Tang Zheng's spirit was greatly aroused, as he had never tried this position before. He hugged her, changed positions, and began a new round of attacks. He did not know if it was because Feng Shishir heard about Tang Zheng's past, but she became particularly active, as if she wanted to use her body and passion to make him forget all his worries. Hurry up, hurry up! Following Feng Shishir's high-pitched moans, Tang Zheng tightly hugged her, breathing heavily. You're a little different today. The two of them rested for a while, and Tang Zheng curiously said. Feng Shishir charmingly smiled. What's different? More active. Do you like it? Feng Shishir blinked her big eyes. Tang Zheng laughed. Of course I like it. If you like it, then let's do it again. Feng Shishir was not satisfied, so she turned over and sat on him again. Hey, you can't do it. How dare you say I can't do it? I'll let you know my strength. Tang Zheng soon regained his vigor, and Feng Shishir's beautiful voice sounded again. In the morning, before the Feng couple woke up, Tang Zheng quietly escaped. When he came down from upstairs, his legs were a little weak. Last night, Feng Shishir was too fierce, and she actually did it 5 times. The more she fought, the braver she became. Fortunately, Tang Zheng's strength was strong enough, and in the end, he turned her into a pool of soft mud, and she admitted defeat. Tang Zheng let a long breath. Just like Shishir said, why should he think so much? It would only increase his worries. It was better to do what was in front of him first. When he returned to upwind Shangshui, he saw from afar that his grandfather was anxiously walking out, and he did not even notice Tang Zheng. What happened? Tang Zheng was secretly surprised and quietly followed him. His grandfather got on the bus, and Tang Zheng stopped the taxi and followed at a distance. Half an hour later, they arrived at the crisscrossed old district in the north of the city. Grandpa, what are you doing here? Are you going back to your hometown? But you don't have to come so early, and you look so panicked. Something must have happened. He did not disturb the other party and followed from a distance. After a while, they arrived near the garbage dump. Tang Zheng was very familiar with this place. When he was a child, his grandfather picked up junk, and he played here. This was his childhood playground. Tang Dahai quickly walked into a dilapidated yard and heard a few voices. Old Tang, you are here. This group of people is too bad. Last night, they smashed our place. Old Zhang's head was broken. They are too cruel. Who are the other party? Tang Dahai asked. Who else could it be? Wang Huzi. Someone said indignantly. Tang Zheng's head moved. He also knew this Wang Huzi. He was the owner of a waste collection station. He was tall, surnamed Wang, and had a beard on his face, so he was called Wang Huzi. The people who picked up junk here sold their waste to Wang Huzi. Even Tang Dahai's waste was sold to Wang Huzi. It was said that Wang Huzi had made a lot of money in recent years. How could the old man have a conflict with Wang Huzi? We didn't provoke him. Why did he smash our collection station? Tang Dahai was also a little angry. Don't you understand? Wang Huzi saw that our price was fair and stole his business, so he was jealous of us. Tang Dahai angrily said, Everyone knows that Wang Huzi usually lowers the price. He makes a lot of money. We work hard in the garbage dump, but we only make a little money. Moreover, during this time, he has become more and more excessive. Everyone has almost no money to earn. So, several of us joined forces to set up this collection station. This is for the survival of the masses. Tang Zheng rarely listened to his grandfather's long speech, but he also figured out the reason. It turned out that Wang Huzi deliberately lowers the price so that these people who eat from the garbage dump have no way to go. So, the old man took the lead to set up this collection station. But he didn't expect Wang Huzi to monopolize the business and smash the collection station at night. A burst of anger rose from Tang Zheng's head. His grandfather was bullied by this kind of person. It was outrageous. During this time, he was busy practicing and studying, so he forgot about his grandfather's matter. The old man had nothing to do every day, so he came back to set up this collection station with his old friends. The old man was a person who couldn't stay idle. Of course, Tang Zheng supported the old man's idea of opening a collection station. Since the old man didn't want to be idle, he didn't need to go out early and return late every day. He only needed to guard the collection station and pass the time. This was indeed a good way. When the others heard Tang Dahai's words, they were filled with righteous indignation. Old Tang, you are right. Wang Huzi is bullying us. He doesn't give us a way to live. What do you think we should do? We can't just close the collection station after a few days. Of course not, Tang Dahai said firmly. Then what should we do? This. Tang Dahai hesitated for a long time and said, let's go find Wang Huzi and reason with him. I don't believe that there is no place for reason in this world. Old Tang, don't be stupid. If we go find him, isn't that asking for trouble? I heard that behind him are people from the underworld. How can we be their opponents? When this was said, everyone was silent. These people who lived at the bottom had an innate fear of people from the underworld. Old Tang, isn't your grandson, Little Zheng, very powerful? He let you move to a new house. You tell him to go find Wang Huzi and reason with him. He is a student and has studied before. He is definitely better than us. Someone suggested. Tang Dahai did not hesitate to refuse. No. Chapter 186. Tang Dahai's shout surprised the others, and they all asked, Old Tang, what do you mean? Tang Dahai's face was serious as he said, Little Zheng is a student and is about to go to college. How can we let him get involved in this kind of thing? The others didn't understand. Old Tang, you have raised him for so many years. What's wrong with letting him do something for you? Moreover, I don't think Little Zheng will have any objections. Amazed face, amazed face, Tang Dahai still shook his head. I said no means no. Old Tang, you're still so stubborn even though you are old. What do you think we should do? Tang Dahai hesitated for a long time and said, I will go to Wang Huzi. I don't believe that there is no place in this world that is reasonable. The others shook their heads and sighed. Seeing that their efforts were about to go down the drain and they would be exploited by Wang Huzi in the future, they couldn't help but feel listless. Tang Zheng heard everything clearly outside the courtyard. Of course, he understood his grandfather's painstaking efforts. His grandfather didn't let him get involved in this matter in order to protect him. This was his attitude as always. He had to face all the dangers by himself and let Tang Zheng live under his protection. Even if he already knew that Tang Zheng was not the same as before, he was still subconsciously unwilling to let Tang Zheng take risks. Sigma Tang Zheng's heart was both moved and ashamed. He took large strides into the courtyard and shouted, Grandfather! Everyone subconsciously turned around and looked at him with different expressions. Tang Dahai's face flashed a trace of panic and said, Little Zheng, why are you here? Grandfather, I'm sorry. I didn't know you had so much trouble. I didn't care about you properly. Tang Zheng said with guilt. Tang Dahai waved his hand and said disapprovingly, Silly child, you don't have to worry about such a small matter. Weren't you busy with the college entrance examination some time ago? Moreover, this is not a big matter. I will solve it in a while. Saying this, he hurriedly gave a look to the others. Although the others really wanted Tang Zheng to help, but seeing Tang Dahai's look, they all awkwardly said, Yes, Little Zheng, we can solve this matter. You can go back first. Obviously, everyone still cared about Tang Dahai's face. Tang Zheng took a deep breath and suppressed the anger in his heart. He said, Grandpa, take me to Wang Huzi. If he dares to smash our acquisition station, I will make him unable to establish himself in ordinary balance. It was rare for Tang Zheng to be so angry, but once it involved his family, his anger would rise exponentially. When the others saw Tang Zheng say such bold words, although they felt that it was a bit exaggerated, they also felt relieved. However, they still advised, Little Zheng, Wang Huzi is not that simple. He has a backer. If we provoke him, we won't be able to survive here. We won't even be able to live in ordinary balance. That's right, little Zheng. Just bear with it for a while. If worst comes to worst, we won't open this purchasing station anymore. Someone chose to compromise. Tang Jing acted as if he didn't hear it. Everyone, please lead the way. I will deal with this Wang Huzi today. In the future, no one in the ordinary balance can make things difficult for you. Everyone stopped talking and looked at Tang Dahai, waiting for him to make a decision. Tang Dahai was surprised. He knew that Tang Jing knew martial arts, but in his impression, Wang Huzi was not a good person. If his grandson provoked him, wouldn't it be very troublesome? Tang Jing certainly understood what his grandfather was worried about, so he looked into his eyes and said seriously, "Grandpa, do you believe in me?" "Of course I believe in you," Tang Dahai said without hesitation. "If you believe in me, take me to Wang Huzi. I can really solve this problem, and I won't get into trouble," Tang Jing said confidently. Tang Dahai looked at the eager eyes of the old men around him. He was a little moved. If the acquisition station was gone, it would be difficult for the old men to survive. He had Tang Jing's filial piety, but the others didn't have such good fortune. Finally, Tang Dahai gritted his teeth and asked, "Little Zheng, do you really have a way to solve this problem and not get into trouble?" Tang Jing heavily nodded his head, as all the people in Changheng City were his people, but his own grandfather and former neighbors were actually being bullied by these so-called gangsters. This was simply the biggest joke in the world. "Then let's go, but we must be careful. Let's go together. It's always good to have more people." Tang Dahai made up his mind. Everyone was overjoyed and shouted, "Let's go and find Wang Huzi. By the way, little Zheng, can you go alone? Wang Huzi has a lot of people, and he is so tall like a cow. You should call a few more friends to help you." Tang Dahai's face sank. "We are going to reason, not fight. What do you call people?" Tang Jing said, "Don't worry, we are enough. We don't need anyone else." Tang Dahai looked at Tang Jing with relief. The others were skeptical, but no one had any objections. 6 or 7 people walked together to Wang Huzi's acquisition station. Except for Tang Jing, the rest of the group were old people in their 60s or 70s. They didn't have any fighting power. The people nearby looked at this strange team and talked about it. "Isn't this old Tang? They must be looking for Wang Huzi. I heard that their acquisition station was smashed by Wang Huzi last night. Aren't they looking for trouble by going to Wang Huzi?" That's right. Old Tang opened this acquisition station to give everyone a bite to eat. I didn't expect Wang Huzi's heart to be so black. He cut off our way of life. Let's go and see. If they make trouble in the end, we have to persuade them. Otherwise, Old Tang will definitely suffer a big loss. It's possible that someone will die. Suddenly, many people followed them from afar and came to Wang Huzi's acquisition station. This acquisition station had been in operation for many years, and its scale was much larger. There was also a big wolf dog at the door. This was to prevent people from stealing and to demonstrate to outsiders. Tang Dahai and the others looked at the big wolf dog in fear. The big wolf dog suddenly jumped and barked. "Woof, woof, woof." An old man was scared and almost fell to the ground. "Don't be afraid. It's locked. It can't jump over." Someone cheered. The old men didn't feel relieved. Instead, their mood became more dignified. This evil dog seemed to be like its owner. It made people feel fear. "Who made my wolf unhappy?" A roar came from the yard. Everyone recognized this voice. It was Wang Huzi. The old men were just filled with righteous indignation. Now that they saw the evil dog and heard the roar, their hearts were in turmoil and their faces were pale. Tang Jing strode into the yard with his grandfather. At a glance, he saw Wang Huzi sitting under the eaves. He had a toothpick in his mouth and looked at the crowd coldly. Wang Huzi sneered, "Oh, I thought it was someone else. It turned out to be you old men. What are you doing here so early in the morning?" "Hee hee, I heard that your acquisition station was smashed last night. Congratulations." He was extremely arrogant. He didn't put this group of people in his eyes. Tang Dahai stared at him and said angrily, "Wang Huzi, A wise man doesn't do underhanded things. Who did it last night? Everyone knows. Wang Huzi looked at Tang Dahai contemptuously and said disdainfully, "Why? Do you suspect that I did it? You did it and you dare to deny it." The other said indignantly. Wang Huzi grinned and shouted, "F***ck, I did it. What can you do to me? You lawless." Haha, lawless. I like this word. In this piece of land, I, Wang Huzi, am the law. If you want to make a living under me, you must follow Laozi's rules. Otherwise, all of you can scram. I want to see what else you can do if you don't do this. Most of these old men had no children. If they didn't do this, how could they survive? Wang Huzi obviously ate this point, so he was fearless. He became the local tyrant of this piece of land. The old men trembled with anger and shouted, "Wang Huzi, you will die a horrible death. Haha, I will die a horrible death. I see that you old things will die a horrible death. You dare to come to my territory to find trouble. I think you're really tired of living." Everyone was shocked and frightened. They looked at Tang Dahai. Tang Dahai was also very angry. He took a deep breath and said, "Wang Huzi, we are all in the same place. Is it really necessary to be so ruthless? Moreover, you can't earn all the money by yourself. Can't you give us old men a bite to eat? F***ck. If I give you a meal, who will give me a meal? Moreover, I have a big appetite. If you eat, what will I eat? I want to be hungry. I don't like being hungry." Wang Huzi stood up and walked up angrily. Tang Zheng didn't move and didn't speak. Since his grandfather wanted to reason with Wang Huzi, he would let him see clearly that there was no way to communicate with this kind of person. Sure enough, Tang Dahai saw that Wang Huzi was so unreasonable. He couldn't help but be speechless. He came to negotiate, but the other party didn't give him a chance to negotiate. It was clear that they were bullying him. Wang Huzi walked in front of them and looked down at the old man. Puff! He spat out the toothpick and revealed his yellow teeth. "Wang Huzi, are you really unreasonable?" Tang Dahai didn't give up and asked. Wang Huzi contemptuously shouted, "Get lost, or I will release the dogs to bite you old men to death." Tang Dahai didn't speak and looked at Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng understood and took a step forward. He stood in front of the old men and stared at Wang Huzi. Wang Huzi was 185 meters tall. Tang Zheng had grown 3 centimeters. He was 178 meters tall, but he was still shorter than Wang Huzi by half a head. Wang Huzi didn't put Tang Zheng in his eyes at all. Instead, he was interested and jokingly said, "Oh, you also brought helpers. A few old farts, quite powerful. But isn't bringing such a brat to die? I will open your eyes." Tang Zheng didn't say a word. He didn't have the interest to talk nonsense with this kind of person. The anger in his heart was on the verge of erupting. Seeing that Tang Zheng didn't say a word, Wang Huzi thought he was afraid. He roared and punched Tang Zheng's stomach aggressively. Chapter 187. Seeing Wang Huzi hit him without saying a word, several old men exclaimed, but they couldn't do anything. Please add. Tang Zheng's eyes flashed with a thick killing intent. Seeing that the opponent's fist had already reached his stomach, he reacted first and punched him in the chest. Boom! A muffled sound was particularly clear. Wang Huzi flew back and hit the wall. He fell and couldn't get up. Who are you? Wang Huzi vomited blood. His eyes turned white. His stomach was in turmoil. He tasted pain that he had never felt before. I'm his grandson, Tang Zheng said coldly. F***ck. It turned out to be a tough one. If you dare to touch me, I will make sure you can't walk out of this door. Wang Huzi finally recovered and stood up with the help of the wall. There was no fear. Instead, there was a kind of vicious anger from the bottom of his heart. Brothers, come out and deal with this kid. Break his legs for me. F***ck, a group of trash. You dare to go against me. I will let you know the consequences. The sound of footsteps could be heard. 10 people rushed out from all directions of the courtyard. They had heard the commotion, but they didn't care about it. Wang Huzi could easily deal with a few old farts. There was nothing to see here. But when they rushed out, they saw Wang Huzi vomiting blood. His facial muscles were twisted because of the pain. They couldn't help but be surprised. Boss, what's wrong? Break that kid's legs for me. Wang Huzi shouted. Okay, boss. Watch us. These thugs rushed up like a swarm of bees. They were a motley crew. There was a world of difference between them and Lin Hu's underlings. These were the unemployed vagrants of the urban-rural fringe. They were collected by Wang Huzi as a front and thugs. But their fighting power was weak, let alone facing a master like Tang Zhong. However, this momentum was still very scary. Exclamations sounded everywhere, "Don't hurt people." But no one listened to this. Several people raised their sticks and rushed towards Tang Zhong. Tang Dahai's legs trembled. He wanted to rush forward to help Tang Zhong block the attack, but he was firmly protected by Tang Zhong, unable to move. A few of the old men were so scared that they fell to the ground. They were terrified, and even some of the onlookers outside the door were scared and fled in all directions. Tang Zhong didn't move. He looked at the other person coldly, as if he was too scared to move. Whoosh! A wooden stick was thrown at him. Tang Zhong reacted at lightning speed, snatching the stick and swinging it. Kacha! With a crisp sound, the other party's calf bone immediately broke, revealing the white bone underneath. The calf was twisted at a strange angle. Ah! The other party was stunned for a moment before letting out an earth-shattering scream. His face turned the color of pig liver as he opened his mouth wide in horror. The others were all stunned by this scene. They were dumbstruck. This action was too clean, too ruthless. Tang Zhong felt that he wasn't ruthless enough. This group of people used their power to bully others. Moreover, they bullied people who lived at the bottom of society. This kind of people were often more despicable and infuriating than those evil people. Tang Zhong moved. Holding the wooden stick, he charged into the crowd, just like a tiger charging into a flock of sheep. The stick in his hand fell, clean and nimble. The sound of bones breaking, miserable cries, one after another, rang out incessantly. Tang Zhong's attacks were very accurate. They were all aimed at the other party's calf bone. Not only one leg, but both legs were completely twisted at a strange angle. The white bone was exposed, which was particularly terrifying. Aran! The remaining few people screamed in panic. Even their voices were filled with tears. They had never seen someone who could fight so well. Moreover, he was so ruthless. They were really scared out of their wits. Tang Zhong didn't let this group of people go. He chased after them fiercely. The thugs' legs were broken one after another. They lay on the ground, screaming. The first person to escape had already rushed out of the courtyard. When he saw the big wolf dog, his eyes lit up, and he quickly untied it. Woof woof! The wolf dog barked a few times and pounced on Tang Zhong. Wang Huzi had long been frightened by Tang Zhong's skills. He had lived for so many years, but this was the first time he had seen such a fierce person. He was frightened. Suddenly, he saw the wolf dog pounce on Tang Zhong. He was suddenly shocked and shouted, "Wolf boy, good job. Quickly bite him to death. Bite this kid to death." Screams came one after another. Some people couldn't help but close their eyes. This wolf dog was too fierce. This young man was definitely not its opponent. His throat would be bitten soon. Tang Zhong directly threw away the broken wooden stick and clenched his fists. Seeing that wolf boy was about to pounce on top of his head, he shot out a fist like lightning. Boom! The beast didn't even have time to scream. Its head exploded. Flesh and blood flew and sprinkled on Wang Huzi, who was standing not far away. Tang Zhong grabbed the wolf dog's body and threw it out. The last thug was hit hard and fell to the ground. A few of his teeth were knocked out and he fainted. This series of actions was like flowing water. It was full of violent beauty. It made others shocked, especially the blood that stimulated their nerves. Wang Huzi looked at the wolf dog's flesh and blood on his face. He was about to collapse and screamed. Tang Zhong's face was cold as he walked step by step towards Wang Huzi. Wang Huzi stepped back and shouted, "Don't come over! Don't come over! Aren't you very arrogant? You dare to smash my grandfather's junk shop. Today is the day you die." Although Tang Zhong only said a few words, the murderous aura he revealed was absolutely terrifying. "Don't kill me. If you kill me, you'll cause big trouble. I know Brother Dong. Brother Dong will avenge me." Wang Huzi said in panic. "Who is Brother Dong?" "Ordinary balance, boss. Brother Hu's head, Dong Zi. He is very powerful. If you kill me, you won't be able to establish yourself in ordinary balance. Wang Huzi seemed to be grasping at straws as he threatened. Tang Zheng sneered. It turned out that the other party knew Dong Zi and then relied on Dong Zi's name to scare him. It was ridiculous. Then you call your brother Dong. I will wait for him here, Tang Zheng said lightly. Wang Huzi's eyes lit up and said, Well, since you don't know life and death, I will call brother Dong. Don't run. I will kill you in minutes. Suddenly, he seemed to be revived. He smiled sinisterly. With his face covered in blood, it was particularly terrifying. Well, I will wait. You make the call, Tang Zheng said. The others quickly advised, Little Zheng, go quickly. Brother Dong must be a person of the underworld. He is Wang Huzi's big backer. If he comes, you can't leave. Tang Dahai wanted to say something, but stopped. Seeing Tang Zheng's firm eyes, he hesitated but didn't persuade him. Wang Huzi was afraid that Tang Zheng would go back on his words. He quickly hid in the corner and made a phone call. Then he looked at Tang Zheng with a particularly bad look. This look made the others frightened. They tried to persuade Tang Zheng to leave quickly. However, Tang Zheng was indifferent. Instead, he moved a chair and let his grandfather sit down. The others watched this scene with trepidation as they discussed spiritedly. They thought that Tang Zheng was crazy and would definitely suffer in a while. Wang Huzi didn't dare to provoke Tang Zheng. He was afraid that Tang Zheng would kill him immediately. So he hid in the corner and looked at the door expectantly. The other thugs were lying on the ground and screaming, but no one dared to save them, and no one was willing to save these guys who usually acted like a tyrant. Blood spilled all over the ground, and the smell of blood was pungent. This scene was like hell, and it was too impactful. Dong, dong, dong. Suddenly, there was a series of hurried footsteps outside the courtyard. Everyone's face changed. Wang Huzi rushed to the door as if he saw a life-saving straw. Brother Dong, you are finally here. Hurry up and clean up this kid. Look at how he beat up my people. He also killed my wolf boy. Wang Huzi complained like a machine gun. Dong Zi was shocked when he saw the messy courtyard. Where did this fierce person come from? He was so ruthless. He glared at Wang Huzi. In fact, he didn't have much friendship with Wang Huzi. He only met Wang Huzi when he was ordered by Lin Hu to come to this area to see if he could pick up some scraps. Today, he happened to be in the north of the city. When he received the call, he came over to take a look. After all, this was young Master Tang's territory. Someone dared to cause trouble in young Master Tang's territory. Of course, he couldn't ignore it. Dong Zi strode in and frowned. Wang Huzi saw this and was happy. Brother Dong was angry. That kid wouldn't have a good ending. Who did it? Dong Zi asked coldly. Wang Huzi quickly pointed at Tang Zheng and said, It's this kid. Dong Zi looked up and almost shivered. He opened his mouth and walked quickly to Tang Zheng. Wang Huzi saw this and laughed. Brother Dong, it's him. Hurry up and clean him up. When the others saw this, they all cried out in alarm. But Tang Dahai's heart relaxed. He recognized Dong Zi. Back then, he had a grudge with Dong Zi, and Dong Zi was even taught a lesson by Tang Zheng. Afterwards, it seemed that Tang Zheng's relationship with Dong Zi was not bad. Tang Zheng looked at Dong Zi calmly. Dong Zi felt a chill down his spine. His back broke out in cold sweat. Wang Huzi, this bastard, actually provoked young Master Tang. There was no doubt that everything in the courtyard was caused by young Master Tang. Only he had such a strong fighting power. Dong Zi didn't think much. He turned and slapped Wang Huzi's face. Wang Huzi was stunned. He touched his burning cheek and looked at Dong Zi inexplicably. The others were also surprised. Wasn't this person the helper that Wang Huzi invited? How could he hit him? Things were far from over. Dong Zi kicked Wang Huzi's huge body directly to the ground. Wang Huzi's nose hit the ground and blood flowed out. Wang Huzi was at a loss. Brother Dong Zi directly interrupted him and continued to step on his body. He was furious. My mother, Wang Huzi, you are fucking blind. You dare to provoke young Master Tang. Do you want to die? If you want to die, I'll help you. Dong Zi stepped on Wang Huzi's face. With a crack, Wang Huzi's nose was broken. Wang Huzi screamed like a pig. The others looked at this scene blankly. They were stunned. They didn't know what happened. Who was young Master Tang? Was he Tang Zheng? Chapter 188. Everyone looked at Tang Zheng at the same time. The young man looked calm, without the slightest fear. It was as if he didn't see this bloody scene. Sogu 360, So-So search, download free novel. Suddenly, everyone understood that young Master Tang was Tang Zheng. Tang Dahai sighed and looked at Tang Zheng with some changes in his eyes. He had warned Tang Zheng to keep a distance from the underworld. Now it seemed that the relationship between the two sides was closer, especially Dongzi's fear towards Tang Zheng that came from the bottom of his heart. It made everything even more obvious. Everyone's look at Tang Zheng changed again and again. At first they were confused, then they were in awe. Their mentality underwent a drastic change. Of course, Wang Huzi had the most drastic psychological change. He originally thought that Tang Zheng was insignificant and that he could easily pinch him to death. Now he realized that Tang Zheng was far from being a big character that he could provoke. Even Dong Ge called him young Master Tang. That feeling of awe came from the bottom of his heart. Wang Huzi was afraid. The pain in his body couldn't catch up with the fear in his heart. He shivered and struggled to raise his head. He looked at Tang Zheng with a pleading expression. "Fuck, what are you looking at? Believe it or not, I will kill you now." Dongzi roared fiercely. Wang Huzi was scared to death. He begged bitterly, "Don't kill me. I have eyes, but I can't see. I won't dare to do it again. How to deal with you is not up to you. It's up to young Master Tang." Dongzi said fiercely and then looked at Tang Zheng. "Young Master Tang, how do we deal with this guy?" Tang Zheng didn't speak. He quietly watched all of this. Seeing Wang Huzi's miserable appearance, he didn't pity him. When he dealt with the helpless old man, he didn't pity him. Wang Huzi was used to bullying people. This was retribution. However, this incident reminded Tang Zheng that ordinary people were very afraid of the people in the underworld, and many people used the banner of the underworld to bully and dominate the market. This was simply making Tang Zheng a scapegoat. Moreover, these people who were bullied were the most ordinary and lowest people like his grandfather. He would never allow this to happen again. Therefore, he had to use this incident as a warning to others so that no one would dare to use his name to commit evil in the future. So, he coldly looked at Dongzi and asked, "Wang Huzi said that you are his backer and can kill me in minutes?" Dongzi's face was pale with fright. He cursed Wang Huzi's 18 generations of ancestors in his heart. He explained in horror, "Young Master Tang, this is definitely nonsense from Wang Huzi. I have only met him 2 or 3 times. I never knew that he used my name to do bad things." Tang Zheng's expression didn't relax at all. His eyes were as cold as a blade. Dongzi panicked and quickly raised his hand to swear. "Young Master Tang, if I have half a word of falsehood, I will be struck by lightning and die a horrible death." People in the underworld attached great importance to oaths. Since he had made such a vicious oath, it was most likely true. However, for Dongzi to be called by Wang Huzi, Tang Zheng was still brooding. "Then why did you come when he called?" Tang Zheng asked straightforwardly. Dongzi quickly explained, "Young Master Tang, I heard that someone was making trouble in your territory, so I rushed over to see who had eaten the courage of a leopard. I didn't expect that bastard Wang Huzi to provoke you." This was Tang Zheng's territory? Everyone sensitively grasped this important information. They couldn't help but be shocked and looked at Tang Zheng in disbelief. Tang Dahai also looked at his grandson in shock. He couldn't imagine that Tang Zheng actually ruled this territory. The awe in the eyes of others was even stronger. Even Wang Huzi and his thugs stopped screaming. Their eyes almost popped out as they stared at Tang Zheng. There was only one thought left in their minds: fear. Tang Zheng ignored everyone's complex mood and still coldly asked Dongzi, "Do you know how he provoked me?" Dongzi's heart moved. He really didn't know how this incident started, so he shook his head blankly. "Young Master Tang, I don't know." "Well, then look at these old people behind me. Wang Huzi wanted to kill them and deprive them of their right to live, including my grandfather. What do you think? Ah, Wang Huzi is not a good thing. Dongzi looked at the group of old people around him and said bitterly, my grandfather opened a waste collection station. Last night, it was smashed by Wang Huzi. Then he wanted everyone to sell their waste to his collection station. How do you want to deal with this? Dongzi said without hesitation, young Master Tang, how do you want to deal with it? Tang Zheng looked at Wang Huzi condescendingly and asked, how do you want to deal with it? As long as you don't kill me, I'm willing to do anything. Wang Huzi was scared out of his wits. Dongzi glanced at the collection station and said, young Master Tang, since he smashed your grandfather's collection station, of course he has to compensate. I think we should use this collection station as compensation. This? Wang Huzi was dumbfounded. This collection station was his only means of making money. If it was taken away, what would he do in the future? How could he act like a tyrant? But in order to save his life, he could only grit his teeth and bear the pain. He said, then I'll sell it to young Master Tang at a cheaper price. Treat it as my apology for what happened last night. F*CK, you dare to sell it? You dare to let young Master Tang pay for it? Do you King only think about money? Well, then I will fulfill your wish and kill you. Dongzi was furious. This Wang Huzi was really stupid. At this time, he still dared to ask for money. How could Dongzi not be angry? He could see that young Master Tang's eyes were gradually turning cold. Wang Huzi was shocked. It turned out that the other party wanted him to give away the collection station for free. This way, he would lose a lot of money. He didn't have time to think as his stomach was kicked by Dongzi. Like a dead dog, he rolled to the corner and let out a scream. At this moment, he finally realized the fear of death. He quickly shouted, I'll give the collection station to young Master Tang. I beg young Master Tang to let me live. Tang Zheng corrected him. It's not giving, it's compensation. You smashed my grandfather's collection station. This is a reasonable compensation. Wang Huzi quickly nodded. Yes, compensation, it's compensation. I'll compensate the old man. The others looked at Tang Dahai enviously. This collection station could easily earn millions of dollars a year, and it was sustainable. This was an unimaginable amount of wealth for the people who lived at the bottom for a long time. Moreover, with Tang Dahai's character, he would never give everyone a chance to live like Wang Huzi. In the future, the waste could be sold at a good price, and everyone could make money to improve their lives. So many people have begun to think about how to curry favor with Tang Dahai. Human nature was like this. When Tang Dahai was just a scavenger, everyone would maintain a calm and equal state of mind. But when his status quickly rose and was enough to decide their lives, they would try to adapt to their new identity as quickly as possible. Tang Dahai looked at the expressions of the group of old friends. How could he not understand this change? For a while, he couldn't adapt to it. He said to Tang Zheng, Little Zheng, come here. Grandpa, what's the matter? Tang Dahai walked to the corner and said, Come here, I have something to say to you. Tang Zheng nodded and walked over. Tang Dahai said seriously, Little Zheng, are you really going to take Wang Huzi's collection station? Why not? Tang Zheng asked. But says after all, if we take it away, what will others think of us? Tang Dahai asked with a sad face. Tang Zheng understood his grandfather's worries. He was still too kind. Even if Wang Huzi did so many excessive things, he still didn't really want to retaliate against him. Tang Zheng didn't agree with this view. This was the difference between the two generations. For many things, Tang Zheng already had his own opinions. Although some practices were not approved by Tang Dahai, Tang Zheng knew that this was the most beneficial way for him. Tang Zheng had a brainwave. He hoped that this incident would let his grandfather gradually understand his attitude and accept his way of doing things. Grandpa, Wang Huzi has been bullying the market for years. Everyone complained, but they didn't dare to say anything. Isn't the collection station also for everyone's benefit? Since Wang Huzi has harmed everyone's interests, why can't you replace him? Replace? Tang Dahai looked at him suspiciously. Yes, Grandpa, you can manage this collection station. Then everyone's interests can be protected. Grandpa, didn't you open the collection station for everyone's benefit? Now you have a better opportunity. You can also fight for more benefits for everyone. Isn't this what Grandpa wants? Everyone will be grateful to you. Why not? Tang Zheng analyzed. Tang Dahai really wanted to fight for everyone's benefits and let everyone live a better life. This was his wish. Tang Zheng's words undoubtedly moved him. Grandpa, they will be happy because of this matter. You'll be happy too. It's the best of both worlds. Tang Zheng continued to persuade. Tang Dahai looked back at the group of old men and said, "Is this really good?" Tang Zheng quickly said, "Of course it's good. Grandpa, you don't have to hesitate anymore. Moreover, we don't rely on this collection station to make money, so we can let them earn more and live a better life. This is a good thing." "Well, I promise you. But what are you going to do with Wang Huzi and the others?" Tang Dahai asked again. "You're not really going to kill them, are you?" "Of course not. I'm not a murderer. Since he handed over the collection station, of course I will let him live," Tang Zheng said. Tang Dahai breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Little Zheng, what you did just now really scared me. I thought you would kill him." Tang Zheng smiled and said, "How can I kill someone in front of everyone? Just now, he really had the intention to kill. After all, Wang Huzi's actions towards Grandpa were unforgivable. But after thinking about it, not everything in this world needs to be solved by killing." Tang Dahai heard this and finally felt relieved. He smiled and said, "Then do as you wish." Tang Zheng turned and walked towards Wang Huzi. Wang Huzi was lying on the ground. He was so scared that he couldn't stand up. Chapter 189. Seeing Tang Zheng looking over, Wang Huzi put his head on the ground. He didn't dare to look at Tang Zheng. The others also held their breath. Their hearts were in their throats. They didn't know how Tang Zheng would deal with Wang Huzi. "Wang Huzi, I always keep my words. Since you promised to compensate my grandfather, I will certainly let you live. But before you leave, you have to apologize to these elders. If your attitude is not correct, I don't mind teaching you a lesson." Tang Zheng said slowly. Wang Huzi was pardoned. He quickly knelt on the ground and kowtowed to the elders. "Elders, Wang Huzi, was possessed. I'm not a good person. I beg you to let me live. I will not dare to do it again." The elders looked at each other. They used to be inferior to Wang Huzi. They were angry, but they didn't dare to say anything. They never thought that Wang Huzi would kowtow to them and beg for mercy. They couldn't help but feel that everything was like a dream. It was too unreal. The elders subconsciously looked at Tang Zheng. All of this was his credit. Everyone was basking in his light. They thought that Tang Zheng was taking a risk. Now they found out that he was full of confidence and didn't put Wang Huzi in his eyes. They couldn't help but have mixed feelings. Why didn't they have old Tang's luck to raise such a capable grandson? Uptak, however, they were still at a loss. They didn't know how to respond to Wang Huzi's pleas for mercy. So they subconsciously looked at Tang Dahai. Unconsciously, Tang Dahai had become the backbone of this group of elders. Tang Dahai saw the thoughts of the old men and shook his head helplessly. He gradually accepted the change in his identity. He looked at Wang Huzi and said, "Wang Huzi, today we will let you go. I hope you could turn over a new leaf. Don't bully people again. Otherwise, you will end up worse than today." Wang Huzi didn't have any thoughts of resistance. He quickly kowtowed. "Thank you, elder. I will remember it. I won't dare to do it again." Tang Dahai nodded to Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng understood and said, "Wang Huzi, get out of ordinary balance today. If I see you in ordinary balance again, the consequences will be serious." "Yes, young Master Tang. I'll leave now." Wang Huzi was relieved as if he was fished out of the water. His clothes were completely soaked. He listlessly got up and ran out of the door. "Wait a minute. Take your lackeys away." Tang Zheng pointed at the thugs on the ground. "Yes, I'll take him away immediately. I'll disappear immediately." Wang Huzi couldn't care less about the pain. He helped the wounded up, but their legs were basically broken and they couldn't stand. However, the group of people didn't stop. Instead, they couldn't wait to crawl out of the courtyard. After a while, Wang Huzi and his group disappeared. The courtyard was quiet in an instant. Only the blood on the ground and the corpses of the dogs reminded them of what had just happened. Dongzi looked at Tang Zheng anxiously. He had suffered an unexpected calamity this time and did not know what kind of punishment he would face. "Young Master Tang, Dongzi asked while trembling with fear. Tang Zheng waved his hand and motioned him to stop. Then he turned to the crowd and the elders and said, "Everyone from now on, this junk shop belongs to my grandfather. Now, let's invite him to say a few words." After he finished, he took the lead and applauded. Dongzi and the others immediately used all their strength and clapped their hands. The others also looked at Tang Dahai with a smile. "Old Tang, from now on, everyone will follow you for a living. Say a few words." A few of the old men cheered. Tang Dahai quickly waved his hand and said, "How can I speak?" Tang Zheng encouraged him. "Grandpa, you can speak casually. Don't be nervous." Looking at his grandson's encouraging eyes, Tang Dahai certainly understood his good intentions. He took a deep breath and suppressed the excitement in his heart. He said, "Well, then I'll just say a few words. Today's matter is far from what I expected. Fortunately, there is no Wang Huzi, this evil man, in the future. The acquisition station is not only mine, but everyone's. From now on, I will buy your things at the most fair price. In the future, the lives of the old men will be improved to a certain extent. I, Tang Dahai, have worked hard for most of my life. I understand the bitterness of everyone, so this is a small matter that I can do." When the crowd heard this, they were silent. Many of the old men felt the same way. Their eyes were moist. It was really not easy for them. "Old Tang, we believe in you. Thank you. Thank you for your grandson." Suddenly, the crowd shouted excitedly. A wave of gratitude came one after another. "This is what we should do." Tang Dahai quickly waved his hand embarrassedly, but his face finally rippled with a smile. He was very proud. Tang Zheng also smiled. His grandfather had his own goal in life and would not be bored. Moreover, this junk shop was bound to be prosperous and no one would come to find trouble. Everyone was also clear about this point, so they were confident and cheered. "Grandpa, everyone, you are busy. I will go back first." Tang Zheng said goodbye. The others were still in awe of Tang Zheng. They quickly replied, "You go busy yourself." Tang Dahai also nodded, indicating that Tang Zheng should leave. Tang Zheng walked out of the courtyard. Hearing the laughter and cheers coming from the courtyard, the corners of his mouth could not help but curl up slightly. The sound of footsteps behind him gradually approached. Dongzi followed him out. Tang Zheng's face sank. He said, "Take me to see Lin Hu. Inform Fire Phoenix to come with me." Dongzi hurriedly and apprehensively replied and informed the two big shots. Half an hour later, at Shengshi Bar, Tang Zheng, Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix sat in the office. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix looked at Tang Zheng in astonishment. They found that his expression was very heavy. They did not know what had happened. Tang Zheng pointed at Dongzi, who had been standing there the whole time, and said, "You tell them yourself what happened." Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix looked at Dongzi suspiciously, especially Lin Hu. After all, Dongzi was his leader. It was obvious that he had done something to provoke young Master Tang. Dongzi's face was bitter. He told them about Wang Huzi. Suddenly, the two big shots' faces changed. It was no wonder that Tang Zheng was so angry. Lin Hu directly roared, "Dongzi, what have you been doing all day? You even dare to offend the old man. Do you want to die?" Dongzi's heartstrings trembled. He quickly said, "Brother Hu, I don't know. Of course, I don't dare to be disrespectful to the old man." Fire Phoenix persuaded, "Brother Hu, calm down. There must be something hidden in this." Tang Zheng coldly snorted and said, "Dongzi really doesn't know about this matter. But from this matter, didn't you find out anything?" "This." Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix looked at each other. They really couldn't understand Tang Zheng's thoughts. Lin Hu had been with Tang Zheng for a longer time. He thought for a moment and asked, "Young Master Tang means that we can't bully the weak?" Tang Zheng looked at him with admiration and said, "It's true that we are people of the underworld, But do people of the underworld have to bully and dominate the market and bully the weak as the strong? Is there a sense of accomplishment? Fire Phoenix gradually understood the situation and said, "Young Master Tang is kind. We admire him. In fact, most of the time, we are in two different worlds from ordinary people. We don't provoke each other. Is that so? But why do I see it differently? People of the underworld seem to be strong. It's not difficult to explain why ordinary people are so prejudiced against us. They think that we are a group of bad people who can't distinguish right from wrong." Tang Zheng said coldly. This was the point of view of ordinary people. Tang Zheng also used to have this point of view. This point of view was not taught by anyone. It was like a social consensus. But the more Tang Zheng interacted with people of the underworld, the more he understood that they were no different from ordinary people. So why did it become like this? Tang Zheng believed that this was caused by a long-time, deep-rooted impression. Tang Zheng was not a person of the underworld before, so he naturally didn't care about this matter. But now he was the leader of the ordinary balance underworld. He naturally had the responsibility and obligation to care about this group's image. Why couldn't the image of the underworld be changed? Why did it have to be an unpardonably evil person? He had to change all of this. Moreover, he had the ability to do so now. This point was something that Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix, who had been in the underworld for decades, didn't think about. In their impression, they seemed to have accepted this fixed image. But Tang Zheng, who had received traditional education from a young age and was carefully taught by his grandfather, clearly didn't agree with this point. When Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix heard Tang Zheng's question, they both went silent. They thought about this question that they had always taken for granted. "Young Master Tang, what do you mean?" "What I mean is very simple. We need to change this fixed image," Tang Zheng said without any doubt. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix bitterly smiled and said, "That's easier said than done. If we don't take a few steps, we won't be able to cross 1,000 miles. If there are difficulties, what are we afraid of? If there are difficulties, we should meet them head on," Tang Zheng heroically said. Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix looked at each other and said, "Okay, since young Master Tang says so, then we have no objections. Moreover, no one wants to be seen as evil. But how should we do it? Without rules, nothing can be accomplished. In the future, the ordinary balance underworld will have 3 rules. First, you can't bully the weak or bully the ordinary balance. Second, drugs are not allowed to enter the ordinary balance. I don't care how rampant drugs were in hoodlums' territory before. Since it is now my territory, then you must follow my rules. Otherwise, I will break your legs and throw you out of the ordinary balance." Ever since they took over hoodlums' territory, the steady flow of drugs made it very difficult for the two to make a decision. But since Tang Zheng had made this decision, even though there would be many people who wouldn't agree, the two still chose to carry it out. Seeing that the two didn't have any objections, Tang Zheng continued. "Third, if a disaster occurs in the ordinary balance, such as a flood, the underworld should extend a helping hand. This is the best time to promote our positive side. These 3 rules, I hope to pass them down and let everyone carry it out." Chapter 190. Hearing these 3 rules, Lin Hu and Fire Phoenix eyed at Tang Zheng's determination, but they did not refute it and passed it on. Fairy Search, novel download, free novel. The atmosphere of Chongheng's underworld changed, and many people could feel this subtle change. Chongheng's law and order situation was much better, and the original situation of a few hooligans dominating the market had disappeared. Furthermore, there were a few cases of those who bullied the weak being taught a lesson. However, this was not something that could be done overnight, and had to be done step by step. Tang Dehai specifically asked about Tang Zheng's relationship with the underworld, and Tang Zheng answered truthfully and also mentioned his 3 rules. The old man originally wanted to persuade him, but found that there was no need. Tang Zheng grasped the situation accurately and did not disappoint his expectations. Taking advantage of the exam marking time, Tang Zheng and Fang Shishir stepped up their cultivation, desperately absorbing the spiritual energy in the spirit stones and turning it into their own qi. With the guidance of a master like Tian Chanzi, Fang Shishi's progress was lightning fast and was almost at the second grade refining qi. Tang Zheng's progress was even greater than Fang Shishi's and was already at the threshold of the 8th grade refining qi. At this moment, he was gathering his qi to break through. Fang Shishi, Celestial Centipede, and Tian Chanzi were all at his side to protect him, preventing others from disturbing him. Tang Zheng's eyes were closed, and his hands were holding a spirit stone the size of a fist. The crystal-clear spirit stone's luster was slowly dimming, and a large amount of spiritual energy was quickly absorbed into his body and turned into qi. The qi in his 9 main meridians had already risen to 7 inches and 9 parts. Kacha! Suddenly, the spirit stone's luster completely disappeared and turned into dust. Tang Zheng quickly grabbed the other 2 spirit stones and did the same. Tian Chanzi praised and said, "This kid's cultivation speed is really abnormal. Others need to spend years to reach this level, and he completed it in a few months." Fang Shishi's eyes were full of worship and joy, and she was even happier than when she broke through. Tang Zheng consumed 6 spirit stones in a row, and his qi actually seeped out of his body, forming a strange energy on the surface of his body. Boom! Suddenly, this strange energy ignited and turned into a light purple first-grade true fire. Boom! A sound like roasting meat was heard, and Tang Zheng's body emitted a green smoke and was quickly swallowed by the first-grade true fire. Fang Shishi was stunned and quickly asked Tian Chanzi, "Master, what's wrong with him? True fire won't hurt him." The sound just now was like roasting meat, and there was also smoke. Tian Chanzi's pupils shrank, and he stared straight at Tang Zheng and muttered to himself, "Strange, his situation is unheard of. The role of true fire is to quench pills, but at this moment his body is like a pill, and the true fire is quenching his body. Will there be any danger?" This was the question Fang Shishi was most concerned about. Tian Chanzi's face showed difficulty, and he really couldn't figure out the trick. "Disciple, you don't have to worry. This kid is not human and can't be judged by common sense. Let's wait and see." Fang Shishi curled her lips. "Master, you're not allowed to say that he's not human. He's just cultivating too fast." Tian Chanzi didn't tell her that Tang Zheng was different from ordinary people, but for the scene in front of him, he was really curious and wanted to see what Tang Zheng would become in the end. Buzz! The true fire burned more and more fiercely and gradually turned from light purple to purple. Tian Chanzi sucked in a breath of cold air and exclaimed, "Second-grade true fire. His true fire has actually changed. Doesn't that mean he'll be even better at alchemy in the future?" Fang Shishi was overjoyed. Tian Chanzi nodded. Of course, the higher the quality of the true fire, the more beneficial it is for refining the medicinal properties of the raw materials. This kid was simply born for alchemy. Fang Shishi's mouth hooked up, and a look of excitement appeared on her face, but suddenly, her face changed because the clothes that were originally protected by true qi were also burning, and soon, many holes appeared on Tang Zheng's clothes. "Aya, why are his clothes burning?" Fang Shishi cried out involuntarily. Tian Chanzi was not surprised. He's attacking the entrance and can't be distracted to protect his clothes. Of course, they'll be ignited by the true fire. Then won't he become naked in a moment? Fang Shishi's heart moved, seeing Tian Chanzi staring at Tang Zheng, who was about to become naked. So she quickly pushed Tian Chanzi out of the room. Tian Chanzi shouted, "Hey, disciple, what are you doing?" "Master, quickly go out." "Why should I go out? This kid is so strange. I want to watch him. Such a spectacle can only be encountered by chance." Tian Chanzi said excitedly. No, quickly go out." Seeing Tang Zheng was only left with a pair of underpants, Fang Shishi's cheeks turned red, and she suddenly shut Tian Chanzi out. Tian Chanzi angrily stamped his feet. "Disciple, what are you doing? I'm your master." Fang Shishi looked at Tang Zheng, whose underpants had already turned to ashes, and she pouted. "I want to see him like this. Even master can't. This is my privilege." Saying this, She couldn't help but look below Tang Zheng. That thing actually stood up. It was so embarrassing. You're not honest, even when you're practicing. Humph. Her face was crimson red, and she fiercely glared at him. Of course, she didn't know that at this moment, Tang Zheng's body was filled with true qi, and every meridian was no exception. So he was so excited. The true fire burned more and more fiercely, already burning his skin. In a moment, he turned into a bright red, soldering iron, blue smoke coming out. His face unexpectedly showed a painful expression. His facial muscles twisted, and his mouth issued a vague cry of pain. Fang Shishir was shocked. What was going on? Why was he in so much pain? She subconsciously reached out to touch Tang Zheng. But as soon as she touched his body, she was immediately blocked by the blazing true fire. What's going on? Why do I feel that the true qi in the room is fluctuating so violently? Tian Chanzi suspiciously asked outside the door. Master, his body has become very red, just like a soldering iron, and he looks like he's in pain. What should I do? Fang Shishir anxiously asked. Bang, please recommend. Chapter 191. After Tang Zheng's pure yang energy was mediated, it turned into a vast and mighty true qi. It was like a flood breaking through a dam, surging violently. In addition to the true qi that he had absorbed from the dozens of spirit stones in an instant, the true qi in Tang Zheng's body had reached a terrifying level. Boom! A loud sound came from Tang Zheng's body. His true qi was stimulated, and like a wild horse, it instantly broke through the threshold, reaching 8 inches. Moreover, like a magnificent army of thousands of horses, his true qi soared from 8 inches to 9 inches. He unexpectedly broke through 2 realms in such a short period of time, reaching the 9th grade of qi refining. Although Fang Shishir also broke through 2 realms, the two couldn't be confused. Although Fang Shishir's achievement was commendable, the amount of true qi required was limited. However, Tang Zheng went from the 7th grade of qi refining to the 9th grade of qi refining. The gap between these realms wasn't something that could be made up with just a little bit of true qi. However, Tang Zheng succeeded, which was terrifying. Tang Zheng opened his eyes and found himself and Fang Shishir's naked bodies intimately connected. He instantly understood what was going on and couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. If Fang Shishir wasn't by his side today, then he really would have exploded and died. It seems that during this period of time, the pure yang energy didn't cause any trouble. He had almost ignored its danger. This time's eruption was a wake-up call for him. The pure yang energy's threat to him was far from over. He was still in deep danger. Although he and Fang Shishir occasionally had intimate actions, it was just like what Tian Chanzi said. As his cultivation increased, Fang Shishir's pure yin energy wasn't enough. He guiltily looked at Fang Shishir, who was right in front of him, and couldn't help but recall Tian Chanzi's words. Could it be that something was really going to happen between him and Yi Dingdang or Lu Qingmei? Before he had time to think about it, Fang Shishir opened her eyes. Her face was still red as she looked at him affectionately. You're so naughty. You don't behave when you're practicing, Fang Shishir teased. Tang Zheng was speechless. This was not what he wanted. The problem was that this body was too strange. There was nothing he could do about it. Shishir, thank you for saving my life, Tang Zheng sincerely said. Fang Shishir gently covered his mouth with her hand and said, Do we still need to be so polite? Moreover, I also obtained some benefits. I'm already a 3rd grade refining qi cultivator. Tang Zheng was incomparably happy. Originally, in order to reach the 3rd grade refining qi, he had suffered a lot. He had to cultivate day and night, fight in the dark, and constantly fight with people. It was far from being as relaxed as Fang Shishir. Then you can have Tian Chanzi teach you techniques. Originally, he told me that he wanted to personally teach you techniques. Tang Zheng said. Ever since she saw Tang Zheng's techniques, she was incomparably eager. Now that she could also learn the legendary techniques, how could she not be ecstatic? You're really too awesome. Does this mean that in the future, as long as we do this, we can increase our cultivation? Fang Shishir said longingly. Tang Zheng laughed involuntarily. How about we try it again? Fang Shishir hurriedly slapped away his evil claws and said coquettishly, Master is outside. Don't be naughty. Tian Chanzi is eavesdropping. That's too unkind. Tang Zheng said. Fang Shishir glared at him and said in a low voice, Don't say that to Master. If it wasn't for Master's reminder, I wouldn't know what to do. Saying this, her cheeks became even redder. Being reminded by her master to do this kind of thing was too embarrassing. Tang Zheng laughed. Actually, Tian Chanzi is sometimes quite kind. Stinky brat, don't speak ill of me behind my back. Hurry up and come out. I want to see what's going on with you. Tian Chanzi impatiently urged. What are you in such a hurry for? I won't run away. Tang Zheng loudly replied. Hurry up and get up, don't dawdle. Fang Shishir hurriedly stood up from Tang Zheng's body, but her legs were weak and she fell onto Tang Zheng's body. Her soft body once again fell into his embrace. Tang Zheng immediately hugged her, his heart like a monkey and a galloping horse. If Tian Chanzi wasn't outside the door, he really would have to fight another 300 rounds to extinguish the fire in his heart. Don't mess around. Master is outside the door. Fang Shishir felt his restlessness and hurriedly reminded him. Tang Zheng bitterly smiled, patted her perky butt and said, I'll deal with you next time. Fang Shishir fearlessly said, Come, I'm not afraid of you. Yo, you're getting bolder and bolder. If I don't beat you for 3 days, you'll become a troublemaker. You just wait for me tonight. Tang Zheng threatened. Fang Shishir playfully stuck out her tongue and quickly put on her clothes. But Tang Zheng's situation was tragic. His clothes were all burned, and he had no clothes to wear. Looking at his embarrassed state, Fang Shishir finally couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh. Don't laugh. Hurry up and buy me a set of clothes, otherwise your boyfriend will run around naked. Run around naked? I don't have any objections. That's not good. I have to hide such a perfect body. If I want to show it, I'll only show it to you. Fang Shishir's lips curled up and praised. It's good that you have this awareness. I'll reward you tonight. I'll go buy you clothes. Remember to buy underwear. Tang Zheng reminded. I know. Fang Shishir didn't even look back as she left the room. Tian Chanzi's figure flashed as he walked in. Tang Zheng quickly found a small piece of cloth to cover his private parts and embarrassedly said, Hey, Tian Chanzi, don't look at indecent things. If there's anything you want to say, wait until I put on my clothes first before saying. Tian Chanzi rolled his eyes and said, We're all men. What are you afraid of? It's precisely because I'm a man that I'm afraid. I'm not afraid of women. Don't mess around. Let me see you. You've actually reached the 9th grade of Qi refining. TSK, you're really amazing. Tian Chanzi didn't hide his envy. Little brat, do you know what just happened? Tang Zheng recalled for a moment and nodded. The true fire in my sea of knowledge burned uncontrollably on the surface of my body, as if it wanted to burn me to death. In the end, what happened? How would I know? The true fire is refining you like alchemy, tempering your body. I can see that your body is a lot stronger than before. Really? Tang Zheng looked left and right, but didn't seem to notice any big changes. Tian Chanzi reminded him, Quietly feel it. Isn't the explosive power of your body better? Do you feel like your muscles are stronger? Tang Zheng closed his eyes and carefully felt for a moment. He suddenly opened his eyes and said in pleasant surprise, It's really like that. Could this be the effect of the true fire? Please recommend. Chapter 192. Feng Yong gasped for breath and said, Boss, you still don't know your college entrance exam results? Tang Zheng suspiciously said, Of course I don't know. What happened? Hurry up and tell me. Feng Yong laughed. Haha, that means I'm the first one to tell you. It seems like I'm quite competent as your little brother. Don't keep me in suspense. Tang Zheng urged. Feng Yong took a deep breath and said, Boss, listen carefully. This shocking dark horse is you. Tang Jing's heart moved. He was still very confident in his exam. Thus he calmly said, "Then how many points did I get?" 740 points. Our province has never had anyone get such a high score in all these years. You only lost 10 points. This is a true top student. Feng Yong used a tone that could only be looked up to and sighed. Tang Jing secretly sighed. He was full of confidence, but he still lost 10 points. It seems like there was still something he overlooked. "Boss, why aren't you saying anything? Are you too excited?" Seeing that Tang Jing did not react for a long time, Feng Yong excitedly asked. "Not excited. It's a bit of pity," Tang Jing honestly said. Feng Yong shouted, "Boss, are you going to let us go or not? He's alive. You're the top scorer, and with such a terrifying score. If you still feel pity, then how can you let others live? Don't stop me. I'm going to jump off a building." Tang Jing laughed and said, "Don't just talk about me. How did you do?" Feng Yong laughed and said, "Not bad. In short, go to normal university in Beijing is not a problem. My dad doesn't need to give money to the school." "Congratulations. Boss, this is all thanks to you. If I didn't meet you, I would definitely have done very poorly," Feng Yong sincerely said. Without a doubt, Tang Jing's appearance changed the trajectory of his life. Moreover, this kind of life was developing in a better direction. Now, not only was he learning and improving rapidly, he was even practicing martial arts. In the future, he would definitely become a martial artist, and that would be a different kind of life. Fang Shishir also heard Feng Yong's loud voice. She happily looked at Tang Jing and congratulated him. "I knew you could do it. You will amaze the world with a single brilliant feat. Let those who look down on you see that you are the best in the world." She held his hand and rested her head on his shoulder. "Boss, is sister-in-law with you?" I heard her voice. Feng Yong asked. Fang Shishir took the phone and said, "Feng Yong, congratulations." "Thank you, sister-in-law." "Oh, I'm really sorry, sister-in-law. I've disturbed you too," Feng Yong said with an evil smile. Fang Shishir blushed slightly. "Sister-in-law, I have another piece of good news for you. You're our province's second place with 705 points. Congratulations, sister-in-law," Feng Yong said. Fang Shishir made an O sound. She did not show too much surprise. Feng Yong was shocked and said with grievance, "Sister-in-law, why do you have the same reaction as boss? You're not excited at all. You two are really family." Fang Shishir smiled, but did not explain. She only cared about Tang Jing. She was not that happy about her own results. Tang Jing, on the other hand, was very happy. He hugged her tightly and kissed her forehead, saying congratulations. Fang Shishir looked up and sweetly smiled. "Hey boss, sister-in-law, don't be so intimate. I have even more shocking news. This time, the top 3 in the province are all from our school. Guess who is the third place?" Feng Yong pretended to be mysterious and asked, "Who is it?" "You can guess, but I guarantee that you won't be able to guess." Fang Shishir thought for a moment and said a name. This was the top student in Pengcheng International School, who was second only to her. "No, I'll tell you the answer. Otherwise, you won't be able to guess. If I didn't confirm it again and again, I wouldn't have believed this result." Feng Yong sighed. "Hurry up and say it. Don't dawdle. Then listen carefully. The third place is our class's Takashi Takashi." "Takashi Takashi?" Tang Jing was shocked. "How could it be him?" "Boss, you had the same reaction as me. I'm afraid that this is also everyone's reaction. I've been in the same class as Takashi Takashi for 3 years. I know his background too well. His grades have always been at the bottom of the grade, and he never made much progress. No one would have thought that he would score so high. This is not a normal performance. This is heaven-defying," Feng Yong exclaimed. Tang Jing shook his head. He really couldn't figure out this matter. Tang Jing was able to become the top scorer in the exam not only because he had a good foundation before, but also because after he became a cultivator, his comprehension ability and almost photographic memory consolidated his strength, so it was not too surprising. But Takashi Takashi was different. His grades for 3 years were at the bottom. Now that he soared to the top, it was too abnormal. Moreover, if it was said that he had been hiding, then he had been hiding for 3 years. This kind of endurance was simply unimaginable for a teenager. The key point was that from Tang Zhang's contact with Takashi these days, Takashi was definitely not a person who was good at enduring. There must be a demon behind this abnormality. Moreover, Takashi once had a conflict with Tang Zhang. This point couldn't help but arouse his attention. Is there anything suspicious about Takashi these past few years? Tang Zhang asked in a deep voice. Feng Yong recalled Takashi's actions in the past 3 years and said, since the beginning of the first year of high school, he relied on his height and strength to bully his classmates. If there's anything unusual about him, it was a little bit before the college entrance exam. During this time, he stopped bullying people and sat his seat all day. He also didn't wander around like before. However, I always thought that he became like this because he was afraid of boss. Tang Zhang had indeed noticed Takashi's abnormality. However, he and Feng Yong both thought that the other party was afraid of him. But now, Tang Zhang felt that it might not be the reason. However, he couldn't figure out the reason, so he could only temporarily put down this doubt. Both sides had just hung up when Tang Zhang's cell phone rang again. This time, it was Lu Qingmei. She couldn't hide her excitement as she said, Tang Zhang, you really gave me a big surprise. You're the provincial champion. Tang Zhang laughed and said, didn't you always want me to perform normally? This is your normal performance. You really tricked me. You don't know what other people look like when they find out your results. I really want to laugh when I see the other teachers look like they've seen a ghost. Lu Qingmei couldn't help but laugh. This is all thanks to Teacher Lu's guidance. Don't talk nonsense with me. Is Feng Shishir by your side? Lu Qingmei didn't hear him call her sister Mei, so she guessed. Yes. You two quickly come to school. The principal and the leader of the Education Bureau want to see you. Also, the reporters from the television station have also come. You two are now celebrities. Lu Qingmei urged. There's no need to be so exaggerated. Tang Zhang couldn't help but laugh. You're not exaggerated enough. Your score is too abnormal. It's hard not to attract people's attention. When you handed in the exam so early, I almost suspected that you knew the exam in advance. Lu Qingmei joked. Tang Zhang was helpless. He looked at Feng Shishir and said, let's go. We're going to school. Tian Chanzi heard the two's conversation at the door and said, Brat, don't blame me for not reminding you. You're a cultivator. It's not suitable for you to attract too much attention. After all, there's still no news from the martial organization. Be careful not to attract too much trouble. Tang Zhang's heart moved. He solemnly nodded and said, I know. I'll act according to the circumstances. When the two of them arrived at the school, there were already quite a few students there. It was clear that everyone knew of Tang Zhang's score and looked at him from afar. Their eyes no longer held any disdain, but were filled with undisguised envy and jealousy. Tang Zhang was really unprecedented this time. Most likely, there would be no one like him in the future. More importantly, his girlfriend was not only the school's most beautiful girl, but also the third most beautiful girl. Who said that being in love would affect one's studies? They were a model couple who could be in love and study at the same time. In short, he had already become a legend. Feeling those fiery gazes, Tang Zhang and Feng Shishir remained calm and collected. They looked at each other, and their fingers clasped even tighter. Lu Qingmei looked at the couple from afar. They were really a match made in heaven. You're showing off your love like this. Aren't you afraid of other people's murderous eyes? Lu Qingmei changed from her usual cold attitude. She smiled and joked. Tang Zhang shrugged and said, I'm already immune to this kind of gaze. Lu Qingmei sighed and said, yes, when you two were together, you suffered from many people's disdain and ridicule. This is the best and most powerful counterattack. Hurry up and go upstairs. There are many people waiting for you two. The three of them went upstairs to the principal's office. There were already many people gathered in the office. There were even people carrying cameras. A beautiful reporter was interviewing the head of the Education Bureau and the principal. The two faced the camera with a serious expression and spoke frankly with assurance. They were not stingy with their praise for Tang Zhang. Seeing the main characters enter the office, everyone's eyes were attracted. Even the cameras were turned to focus on Tang Zhang
and Fong Sure. Their interlocked fingers were immediately recorded. The principal quickly walked over and warmly shook Tang Zheng's hand and said, "Student Tang Zheng, congratulations. I already knew that you would get good grades and have always believed in this. It seems that my eyes were right." Lu Qingmei curled her lips. When Tang Zheng couldn't find the admission ticket, the principal clearly gave up on him. He didn't believe that Tang Zheng could get good grades like he said. However, no one exposed this kind of high-sounding lie. The principal turned to Fong Sure and warmly said, "Student Fong Sure, congratulations to you too. Tang Zheng and you have both brought glory to the school. The school is grateful to you." Fong Sure smiled, but didn't say anything. Tang Zheng looked at the camera aimed at him and subconsciously remembered Tian Chanzi's advice. He only wanted to amaze the world with a single brilliant feat. He didn't expect that the publicity that came with fame would make him unable to hide. If he was an ordinary person, he would really enjoy this kind of life under the spotlight. However, the key was that he had too many secrets and didn't want to attract too much attention. But now that he was going to be on TV, what should he do? Chapter 193. The beautiful reporter sized up Tang Zheng with her pair of eyes. This young man was actually the super fierce person who had taken the exam for 740 people. It was really unbelievable. Free novel, Portal moreover. Seeing him holding hands with such a beautiful girl, her interest was greatly increased. Her mind was already imagining countless hot topics that could ignite public opinion. She excitedly handed over the microphone and interviewed. "Two students, congratulations. May I ask how you are feeling now? Is there anything you want to say?" "I'm not in the mood, and I don't have anything to say," Tang Zheng lightly said, frowning at the camera, and asked, "Can you turn off the camera?" Everyone was stunned. How could there be nothing to say? Shouldn't they be excited and incoherent at this time? Saying some high-sounding words like thanking their parents, thanking the school, and so on. Seeing this, the principal revealed an amiable smile and hurriedly comforted them. "You may not be used to facing the camera for the first time. Don't be nervous. Take a deep breath and slowly relax. Just act as usual." Lu Qingmei poked Tang Zheng's back and whispered, "This is a good opportunity to promote you. Don't waste it." Tang Zheng was only 8 years old and didn't like publicity. He wanted to keep a low profile, so he said bluntly, "I don't know why you called us here." The director of the Municipal Education Bureau strode over with a big belly. His eyes fell on Tang Zheng and said loudly, "Tang Zheng, you have achieved such good results. So the Municipal Education Bureau and the Municipal TV station are preparing to jointly launch a program to promote you in all aspects. In addition to the normal interview conversations, they will also follow and film your daily life to understand you more comprehensively and make you a business card of Ordinary Balance." Ordinary Balance City had never had a provincial college entrance examination champion. This was undoubtedly the best opportunity to show his face. Of course, he wouldn't miss it. The staff of the Education Bureau would be recognized and valued by their superiors. Especially him, the director of the Education Bureau, could add a lot of color to his official career. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come so quickly and specially brought a television staff to accompany him. Tang Zheng ignored the other party's little scheme and refused without hesitation. "I'm sorry. I refuse to accept all of this." The bureau chief looked at Tang Zheng in disbelief and asked blankly, "Why did you refuse? This is a great opportunity for you to become famous." "I don't like being famous," Tang Zheng said bluntly. "This is something that many people dream of. You can't waste such an opportunity. I heard that your family conditions aren't good. This kind of publicity will be more beneficial to your future life," the director advised anxiously. If Tang Zheng did not cooperate, then this great publicity opportunity would be wasted. Tang Zheng was unmoved. "I don't need this kind of opportunity. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave first. I'll come back in a few days when I fill in my application form." The bureau chief was stunned. Finally, an impatient look appeared on his face. He asked coldly, "What's with your attitude? We're doing this for your own good, but you're so uncooperative. Don't think that you can be arrogant just because you're the top scorer. When have I ever been arrogant? I just don't want to be disturbed in my life. Tang Zheng refused to budge an inch. Seeing the strong smell of gunpowder, the principal hurriedly advised, "Student Tang Zheng, the bureau chief is doing this for your own good. You can't waste the leader's good intentions. How much I score is my own business. I really don't need others to worry about me. I also don't like other people telling me what to do and making decisions for me." Tang Zheng did not care about the bureau chief's anger at all. The bureau chief stared at him and said, "If you do this, the consequences will be very serious." Tang Zheng jokingly smiled and said, "What are the serious consequences? You can tell me, and let me see what you're capable of." The bureau chief, was speechless. He did not expect that Tang Zheng would directly contradict him. The principal had a headache. It was originally a good thing. How did it become like this? He hurriedly said, "Since Tang Zheng doesn't like to be interviewed, then what about student Fang Shishir? You're the second place on the list. We can change the interview to you." The bureau chief thought about it and felt that it was feasible. Moreover, Fang Shishir was a great beauty. It would be even more interesting and attractive. Unexpectedly, Fang Shishir looked at Tang Zheng and then shook her head without hesitation. "I don't want to be interviewed. I also don't like to stand in front of a camera." The two people's reactions were exactly the same. It made everyone else's eyes widen in disbelief. Strange things happened every year, but this year there were especially many. In the past, if someone was the top scorer, they would be bombarded with public opinion. However, this time, the top scorer in second place wanted to keep a low profile. Did the sun rise from the west? Lu Qingmei also looked at Tang Zheng and Fang Shishir in astonishment. She did not understand their thoughts at all. She was about to say something to persuade them, but she swallowed her words. She knew that Tang Zheng was a very opinionated person. Since he had already made up his mind, it would be difficult to change it. The leader was very embarrassed. These two students dared to contradict him in front of so many people. How preposterous. He glared at the principal and said, "How do you teach your students? Are the students nowadays so impolite?" The principal's expression was difficult. He stammered, "Young people don't know any better. Please calm down, calm down." Tang Zheng coldly looked at the bureau chief and said, "The college entrance exam is my own business. No matter how many points I get, it has nothing to do with you. You want to use my results to gain benefits for you, right? Sorry, I don't have that obligation." Tang Zheng hit the nail on the head and said what the bureau chief was thinking. The bureau chief was very embarrassed. In the past, the top scorers of the college entrance exam were dragged to this kind of program to support you. But after a few years, how many people would remember them? The most important thing for students is to study and not to be dragged to do publicity. This is putting the cart before the horse. Since you don't understand this, then I don't need to talk to you anymore. Let's go. Tang Zheng pulled Fang Shishir and turned to leave, ignoring the room full of stunned people. "Stop. If you dare to walk out of this door, then don't even think about going to college. Don't think that you can be arrogant just because you're the top scorers." The bureau chief was furious and unceremoniously threatened. Tang Zheng and Fang Shishir stopped and turned around. The leader's face showed a trace of pride and said, "How about it? Do you know how powerful I am now? Your application and future files have to go through the Education Bureau. Without our permission, don't even think about going to college." Tang Zheng shrugged his shoulders and said without fear, "Then use all of your methods. I want to see what kind of tricks you can play in the end." Hiss! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They never thought that Tang Zheng would still not compromise at the last moment. "Don't treat me like any other student. Otherwise, the one who will regret it will be you," Tang Zheng said coldly. "You dare to threaten me? If you think of it as a threat, then take it as a threat," Tang Zheng said indifferently. Was this something a high school student should say? Of course not. Tang Zheng was no longer an ordinary high school student, so they couldn't get used to his attitude. The bureau chief was so angry that his whole body trembled. Even the principal had a bitter face and said, "Tang Zheng, don't talk too much. Calm down. He is just a child. He doesn't know anything. Don't lower yourself to his level."
The bureau chief stared straight at Tang Zheng and arrogantly asked, I will give you one last chance. Will you agree to my request? Forgive me for not accompanying you. Tang Zheng turned around and walked out of the office with Fang Shi. This is too much. How can there be this kind of student? We must teach them a lesson. The leader shouted. Lu Qingmei frowned and looked at him before quickly chasing after them. Tang Zheng, wait a minute. Lu Qingmei stopped the two at the stairs. What's wrong with you? Why aren't you willing to be interviewed? Tang Zheng shook his head. I don't like it. I don't think there is a need to go on TV. I don't like life under the spotlight. You are really different from other people. Other people want to be famous, but you seem to be afraid of being famous. Lu Qingmei shook her head. She couldn't figure him out. Tang Zheng nodded and admitted, I really don't like being famous. Isn't there a saying that people are afraid of being famous and pigs are afraid of being fat? It is better for me to keep a low profile and live longer. Lu Qingmei looked at him thoughtfully and said, That's good too. Maintaining this humble attitude will help you in the future. You guys go back first. In 2 days, come to the school to fill in your application. All right. Have you thought about what school you want to apply to? Yinqing University. Fang Shi, what about you? Fang Shi said without hesitation, Me too. Tang Zheng looked at her and sighed. She really did as he expected and gave up on the idea of going abroad. Then you two can still be together in the future. Congratulations. Thank you, teacher. Fang Shi was particularly sweet. She held Tang Zheng's hand and left the campus. But when Tang Zheng walked to Upwind Shi, he found a lot of reporters with cameras blocking the entrance of the community. He instinctively thought that they were here for him, so he pulled Fang Shi and hid far away. Why are these reporters so annoying? They actually blocked the entrance of my house. Tang Zheng frowned. Fang Shi didn't find it strange and said, This has always been a tradition. A place that has a college entrance examination top score will write about it. It is bound to let the world know about it. We can't fulfill their wishes. Let's go to Shengshi Bar. Bar. Fang Shi's eyes lit up. I've never been to a place like that. My parents also won't let me go. They say it's too messy. Tang Zheng smiled and said, They're right. If a beauty like you goes to a bar, wouldn't you become a big magnet? You'll definitely attract countless people to hit on you. Fang Shi playfully smiled and said, I'm not as charming as you say. You can't do it, right? Then let's go check it out tonight. The two arrived at the entrance of the bar. It was already nighttime, and there were already some scattered customers. Tang Zheng was already a familiar face in Shengshi Bar. When he walked to the door, the underling recognized him and hurriedly respectfully shouted, Young Master Tang. Tang Zheng nodded and whispered, Don't make a fuss. The underling understood. Young Master Tang, have fun. As soon as the two of them sat down, a man walked over with a glass of wine. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.